everybody. This is Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons welcoming you to the high school football game of the week. Brought to you right here on Cablevision and a production of ESV Sports. We're at Yorktown High School today. They don't get much bigger than this one, Ron. The League 2A title game. The unbeaten Horace Greeley Quakers who check in at 5-0, and the Yorktown Huskers at 4-1. Yorktown has won 4 straight. Yorktown has to win its last 2 to get back to the Final Four. Greeley maybe can afford a loss and get there, but still a huge game for both teams.
It's a very big game, and everybody realizes that it's a very big game. I think the weather will play a little bit of a factor today, and also the injuries that each team possess. Of course, Yorktown without Keone, and Greeley without Louderty. And he does everything for them, including their kicking. So today's game, with the weather thrown in, I think will be a ground attack by both teams, and I don't think the passing is going to be that much of a factor.
You mentioned the injuries, Ron. Matt Keone, of course, missing his second start in a row for Yorktown. He is the starting quarterback. He is out with a broken collarbone injury. Mike Lardiere of Greeley, he is the starter at fullback. Linebacker, and as we mentioned, place kicker and punter. He is out for today's game with a sprained ankle injury. Injuries will be a factor. Revenge will also be a factor. Greeley has been outscored 66-0 in its last 2 meetings against Yorktown, and Coach Bill Trivo said we flat out want to settle the score. We'll see what they can do today, and we'll be back with the start of today's game right after that.
This doesn't scare you. Just wait.
The doctor will see you now.
One night a year ago, Vanessa got high with some guy and forgot everything she learned about preventing AIDS. Now her life is the horror show. AIDS. Another way drugs can kill.
1. And we're getting set for the start of today's League 2A championship game at Yorktown High School. This is Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons, and today's game is being brought to you by the Sports Attic at 368 Underhill Avenue in Yorktown Heights, where they make it affordable to play. 962-9816. And by Trader Publications and your hometown newspaper, the Patent Trader, 763-3200. That's the Patent Trader. And right now you see the captains from both teams meeting at midfield for the opening coin toss for today's game. Rob Speck and John Bard out there for the Greeley Quakers, along with Eric Kuntz, and for the Yorktown Huskers, Pete Cariello, number 29, Evan Page, number 4, and Rich Deagle, number 32. And looks like Yorktown has won the coin toss. They will defer until the second half, so Yorktown will defer, and Greeley will get the ball to start this football game. And Ron Lyons without Mike Lardiere in the offense, and we see Mike Lardiere out there for the Greeley Quakers right in the middle of your screen, number 44. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, folks. And a reminder, you are watching the game of the week right here on ESV Sports. And just before we took that break, Ron, I was saying, without Lardiere in the offense, this is a guy that is certainly the go-to player for the Greeley Quakers. And they have not been a team that has been able to throw the ball with any type of consistency, and they certainly don't have a running back with Lardiere's capability. How does that affect their offense and their game plan?
There's no question about it that Lardiere has been their Mr. Everything. He also does their place kicking, their punting, their kickoffs, their kickoff returns. I think he does everything, including carrying the water out during timeouts. But each team loses a dimension of their offense. Of course, Greeley losing Lardiere in the running game, and of course, Yorktown losing Keone in their passing game. So we have a little bit of negateness, I guess we could say, for each of the offensive sets that they're going to be attempting to pull off today. I think, though, the defense is going to be the name of the game here today, particularly with the weather conditions that we have.
And there is a light drizzle with the threat of heavier rain as the day progresses. And we were talking about Mike Lardiere. For the year, he has gained 562 yards on 83 carries. That comes out to an average of 6.7 yards per carry. He also has scored 6 touchdowns in 4 games. Did not play last week in the 20-6 victory over Woodland, and will not be playing again
With
this
the
week.
exception of those 20 points last week, Joe, I believe he scored every point they had up until that point.
I think that's probably just about right, and it's really a big loss for Greeley. Certainly Yorktown with a big loss in Matt Keone, and they struggled with their offensive execution last week against Ossining, with all 8 of their points coming from the defense accounting for all 8 points. And Josh Wilson with the opening kickoff of the game, and it is bobbled and finally taken by Joe Kearns of Greeley. Kearns won't get much going at all, and he is taken down by Joe Seglia, as well as number 22, Eric Leader, and Nick Tidio in on the stop as well for the Yorktown Huskers. And Greeley will take over with a 1st and 10 at its own 20-yard line to start the game. And let's check out the Greeley offense. The quarterback is number 7, John Bard. He's a 5'11", 170-pound senior. The fullback in place of Mike Lardiere will be Eric Kuntz, number 50. He goes 6 foot, 180 pounds. The halfbacks, number 10, Tom Hanrahan, and number 80, Joe Kearns. And the first play of the game is blown dead. We do have a flag on the play. We should have an illegal procedure call. And we'll give you the rest of the starters right now for the Horace Greeley Quakers. We mentioned the halfbacks Hanrahan and Kearns. Hanrahan goes 6 foot, 185 pounds, and the illegal motion penalty is against the Greeley Quakers. And Kearns goes 5'10", 165 pounds. That'll make it a 1st and 15 from the 15-yard line.
There's been a number change, Joe. Adam Wagner appears to be the starting fullback right now.
Okay, they had been scheduled to go with Kuntz, but Adam Wagner now in there for the Greeley Quakers. Kuntz had seen some action in short yardage situations. And right there, it does go to Adam Wagner, who Ron Lyons mentioned. Wagner goes 5'8", 160 pounds. He's a junior, and he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage by Yorktown nose guard Corey Tronchen.
Yorktown's in their famed 52 monster defense.
And Bill
Very
Tribo,
impressive defensively. Very good defensive football team.
yeah, they always have been, certainly under Ron Stanovica. That is the staple. So now we have 2nd and 15 with just underway here in the first quarter of play. And they try an option play right there with Bard, the quarterback, holding on the football. Maybe a gain of 2 or 3 yards on the play. Nothing doing there. Will bring up a 3rd down passing situation for the Greeley Quakers. And checking out that Yorktown defense that Ron Lyons was talking about, the defense has allowed just 13 points in the last 4 games. The nose guard is number 64, Corey Tronchen. The defensive tackles, number 79, Tom Como, and Elio Mazzella, number 8. The defensive ends are Rich Deagle, number 32, and Mike DeAndrea, number 57. The linebackers, Matt Cull, number 50, and Eric Leader, number 22.
Big target here at Fallon. Split out.
Yeah, Dan
Well,
Fallon. But they go, nevertheless, with a running play, and it looked like a counter around the left end, and it will be close to a 1st down, and he does have the 1st down. That was an interesting call there on 3rd and 11.
Well, apparently, if it's this weather condition right now, maybe the switches to the ball. He just didn't want to throw the ball in that part of the territory, so any type of counter flip is a safe play. You're either going to spring it or you're going to have to punt anyhow. He just didn't want to take the chance. I'd like to go back just to that Yorktown defense here for a moment again. You know, they're very aggressive. They swarm to the ball, and they're going to go with it. So a counterplay is going to be successful against them.
It's certainly a 5-0 read defense that Yorktown plays and always had under Ron Stanovica. And right now they'll keep it on the ground again to Adam Wagner, straight up the middle, and a pickup of about 4 or 5 yards on the play. Pete Cariello with the tackle from his strong safety position. Cariello wears number 29. The free safety is number 23, Jamin Romano. He's a 5'9", 160-pound junior. The cornerback's number 88, Anthony Russo. And number 4, Evan Page. 2nd and 4. And they're going to keep it on the ground to Wagner once again. And maybe a gain of a yard on the play. So that'll bring up maybe 2 yards. So it'll bring up 3rd and a long 1. And the ball is at the Greeley 39-yard line. We've got 8:55 to go here in quarter number 1. There is no score.
I think we'll see the fullback back into the short side of the field right back here for the first down. Yorktown's going to be slanting towards the wide side of the field.
Even without Lardier in their run, Greeley's still running a lot of fullback plays, and obviously that is the way the offense has been trained. And indeed, well, they keep it on the ground. The option play goes to Bard, and he's going to get the first down around the right end. That was an interesting play they came up with there.
Well, anything back into the short side of the field, because in that monster-type defense that Yorktown is employing, is they're making a slant to the wide side of the field. So they're going to use the short side of the field to their advantage to run away from the slant.
And that run by Bard was good for another first down. So Greeley able to execute early on part of its offensive game plan and game plan overall, and that is a ball control offense and try and run time off the clock. But right now they do take a timeout with 8:15 to go. The ball is at the 44-yard line, and the Quakers have gotten another first down with 8:15 to go here in quarter number one. It is homecoming at Yorktown High School, and Yorktown looking to win its 5th game in a row. Greeley looking to win its 6th game in a row and get its 9th win in its last 10 games. They started off 1-3 last year. They finished strong. All 4 of their losses last year were teams that won bowl games, not just went to the bowl, but won, including 2 losses to Ossining.
And they lost to Lincoln in the bowl game last year.
Actually, it was they didn't go to a bowl last year, but in week 8 they lost to Ossining in a rematch to finish 4-4.
Technically, of course, on the field they lost to Portchester the opening game this year, but
right.
they were declared the winner when it was discovered that Portchester was using an ineligible player.
And when you're going to be a team like Greeley, which is a little bit of a Cinderella team, I think most people figured they would have a regular season, a good winning record in the regular season, maybe not a bowl team. But when you're going to be a team like Greeley that's going to have this type of year, 5-0 run, similar to the John Jay team in '92 or the Kennedy team in '93 that went 8-1, you got to get a break somewhere along the way. They got that break against
There's no
Portchester.
question about it. Luck certainly plays its part. You know, the scheduling process plays its part. Luck plays its part. And of course, you know, having your players start to believe themselves in the off-season programs are a big part of putting this whole thing together.
And Adam Wagner right now has been the workhorse, taking Mike Lardier's spot. And the Yorktown coaching staff has to be a little bit frustrated. This is not even a starter for the Horace Greeley Quakers, and right there he comes up with a 6-yard pickup. Is there a human nature possible?
No, obviously, well, of course, he's all pumped up. This is his
right.
first, he's been a defensive back, started a defensive back, so he's used to the contact. It's just offensively, his adrenaline has to be pumping right now. The only thing that I would question is the timing. I don't know how much opportunity he's had to work in this position. Obviously, just this past week, I don't know what he's done prior to that, so the timing might be a little off. We possibly could see a fumble in that type of exchange before the game's over.
And certainly the key to the success of any running back would be the offensive line, and Greeley has a good one. The center is Jordan Sussberg, number 67. He goes 5'11", 210 pounds. He is a junior.
He's going to have to be a good one, Joe. To handle that nose tackle that's
Corey Tronson, that's right. And right now we have a 3rd and 3 situation. 7:07 to go, quarter number 1. And to give it to Wagner, he easily gets another first down for Adam Wagner. And again, good blocking by the Greeley offensive line. The guards, Gilbert Song, number 55. He goes 5'8", 160. He's a senior. And another key player is Rob Speck, number 64, 6 foot, 190 pounds, senior. The tackles, Matt Case, 5'10", 215 pounds, a junior. And John Maduris, number 66, 5'11", 205 pounds. He is a senior. The split end is number 89, Dan Fallon, 6'5", 165 pounds. He is a senior. And next play, Bard will keep it himself, and he'll get a pickup off the option play of about 3 yards on the play. The tight end, and this could be a key player around before this game is over with for Greeley, is number 81, Luke Karloff. He goes 6'5", 255 pounds.
I think you're going to see something here. They're lulling Yorktown into the running game, defense in the running game. Defensive backs are coming up quick now. These 2 large targets that Greeley has, I think you're going to see some type of play action. All of a sudden, one of these big guys sprinting downfield. And obviously, Coach Tribauer is taking advantage of his scouting report. He's discovered a weakness on this Yorktown defense, because here comes that pass we were kind of talking about.
And there you go, Ron, with the call. And the ball is loose. Yorktown has recovered their first pass attempt of the game. The sack by Corey Tronson, and Yorktown coming away with the fumble recovery. Rich Deagle in on the play as well for the Huskers, and it did look as if the ball coming away with the ball for the Yorktown Huskers might have been Bill Abrando, number 63. But, Ron, you called for the pass.
Well,
They threw it right there from about the Yorktown
It appeared as if they
43.
were trying to do, but they sure as heck didn't fool the front five of Yorktown. They put a real good pressure on there to make sure that play wasn't going to happen, obviously causing the fumble. Now Yorktown's ball, and let's see what happens here in Greeley's defense.
Yorktown will take over at the Greeley 46. And it goes to Rich Deagle at halfback. And Deagle has a 10, 12-yard pickup on the first play of the game for the Yorktown Huskers. And he'll bring the ball to about the 35-yard line, so we'll call it officially an 11-yard pickup. Clock stop now at 6:06 to go here. Quarter number 1, no score. The quarterback, of course, for Yorktown is Jared McCutcheon, number 16. He is starting in place of the injured Matt Keone. The fullback, number 29, Pete Cariello. The halfback, Seven Page, number 4, Rich Deagle, number 32. And they give us to Page. Straight up the middle, maybe a pickup of about 2 or 3 yards on the play, and not much doing there at all. And the middle of the Quaker line coming in and making the stop.
Both defenses, Joe, are a mirror. They're running the same type of defensive sets, same type of defensive stunts, and it only stands to reason. Both of these coaches are disciples of Coach Tony DiMatteo down at Roosevelt. They played for him, they coached with him, coached for him, and he runs the same defense.
Absolutely, and has for years. And Ron Fenovica said if it's good enough for Tony DiMatteo, it's good enough for me. And there the fullback, Cariello, gets the ball, and they pick up of about 6 yards, bring up a 3rd and 3 for Yorktown with 5:13 to go here, quarter number 1, no score in the League 2A championship game. And, you know, in 1974, Bill Tribo was an all-state nose guard at Roosevelt High School.
And obviously, if it's good enough for Coach DiMatteo, it's good enough for him.
That's right, and one of the members of the coaching staff at Roosevelt then was a young assistant named Ron Fenovica.
Yeah.
So these two, Fenovica and Greeley coach Bill Tribo in his 4th year, go way back.
Oh,
McCutcheon back to pass under heavy pressure, and he is finally taken down by Pat Vetter from his defensive tackle position.
Another little twist to that, too, Joe. Coach Keone from Osping, who is now their athletic director, is also, I believe, on that.
Well, actually, he had been there until, and he told me this week, otherwise I never would have known. He was there until, I think, 72. Then he went to Pleasantville at that time. Then he went work with Dick Rote. He said, hey, to work under DiMatteo and Rote, you know, that's a pretty good apprenticeship. So right there we've seen the early going run. When both teams have tried to pass, they have been unsuccessful. And even though the element of surprise might be there, very successful. Elio Mazzella gets away, a nice punt. And Ron, he looks tremendous. This one goes straight out of the end zone.
Beyond the 20.
He only punted last week because Josh Wilson, the starter, had a pulled groin injury, and Josh continued to kick extra points in the game.
In the air, that was a 60-yard punt, Joe, in the air.
But this kid has one of the best legs I've seen in a long time as far as playing the football. He had got some credit, and that was the key in the Osping game last week, one of the keys, in addition to the Yorktown defense making big plays. The field position of Osping never starting any drives in any type of good field position. And certainly when you get into a low-scoring type game like this, punting's going to be a key. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on with Greeley.
Game, Joe. The kicking is 1/3 of your football game, and too many times it's neglected as far as practice and how to defense it.
Noteworthy is Mike Lardier, of course, handles the punting duties for the Greeley Quakers. And once again, Adam Wagner gets the ball for Greeley. He is gang tacked, loss of 1 on the play. So the Yorktown Huskers starting to read the fullback a little bit better now on their second drive, at least on the first play.
Well, that's where they successfully attacked the last series of downs they had. They attacked that particular area, off tackle to the left, Greeley's left, and they were very successful. So they go back to the well and continue to go back until it's turned off.
So it'll be second down and a long 10. We'll call it 11 here. We're just under, we've got actually 3:32 now to go first quarter. Joe Lombardi, Ron Lyons here at Yorktown High School. And once again, the quarterback, Bard, keeps the ball. He has a nice gainer of about 6 yards on the play. John Bard is a very athletic kid for the Greeley Quakers. He actually bench presses more than any other player on the team as well. And considering some of the good size they have on the line, and particularly the tight end and split end, that is really saying something.
That was kind of like they had motion coming one way and a naked counter back the other way. You'll possibly see an option off of that later on with the tailback coming back with the quarterback away from the flow.
This is a big down here for Greeley early in the game. They want to at least get out of the field position that they are in. And the give is to Wagner. He will be short of the first down, about a yard short. Bring up 4th and 1 from about the 30-yard line for the Greeley Quakers.
The last.
Oh, they call a first down. That surprised me.
First on that?
Yeah, that,
It did look short from up here, Joe. And that was the fullback bend back again to the left. And that had been successful. They shut it off, and now they come back to it for their bread and butter play for the first.
that did look like it was short, but with the spot, they do get the first down. Now Greeley's going to take its second timeout, so they've only got one remaining here. They did get the first down, so they certainly wanted to do that.
I obviously just don't understand that timeout call. The clock was stopped at the change of the down marker, and the change is about 2.5 left. Of course, the official time is kept on the field. They've already used 2 of their 3 timeouts for this half.
Yeah, Rob, we're not
got to
even.
be something important here.
We're not even through the
Coach.
first quarter. We are not even through the first quarter, so he's only got 1 left for the entire remainder of the first half. That could be a big factor late in the second quarter if they get the ball and have to stop the clock. So we will keep an eye on that. Most coaches in a big game like this like to play conservative and save their timeouts.
Most coaches, period, like to save
Yeah,
it.
But in this type of game, you know, last year in the Greeley-Yorktown game, it was scoreless after 1 quarter. Yorktown wound up winning 40-0, but Greeley attempted a lateral and a hook and ladder play, actually. And the ball was intercepted by Pete Cariello, I believe, in return for a touchdown. And then Cariello later in the game had another interception return for a touchdown. Yorktown wound up winning the game 40-0. And the trickery kind of blew up in Bill Tribo's face. And I think his philosophy since then has been, I'm just going to go with my bread and butter. We are 5-0 right now.
A lot of times that one play will open the gates for you. They get the adrenaline pumping. It's like the fumble recovery here before. Yorktown, I believe, picked up 15 yards on its first carry. You know, that one play can turn things around, turn the ball, whether it's a punt return, a kickoff return, or an interception of a lateral, whatever it may be. And the rest just falls in place.
So following the timeout, the Quakers will decide what they want to do here. And John Barr directing the offense. And they keep it on the ground, and tripped up in the backfield for his first carry is Tom Hanrahan from his halfback position. He's also Greeley's primary receiver, but it looked like he just tripped up over either the quarterback or one of the linemen.
I think he got tangled up with number 33 out of the fullback, and again, that's that timing thing which I was talking about before. That same timing is just going to be missing a little bit when Lardier is not in there. It's just natural. He doesn't have the opportunity to work on it that often. That's the thing a coach always worries about when you have to make a substitution, you know, particularly in the backfield. What's the timing going to be like?
And that almost accomplishes what a sack might have, because it's a loss of 4. Now on the keeper, Bard with the football, but Yorktown reads it well, but Bard is able to elude over pursuing Yorktown defense, and Jamin Romano finally makes the tackle. Number 23, Eric Leader, number 22, also in on the play.
That's the mirror to the counter we saw going back to the left before, Joe, and they picked up the first down prior to the fullback first. The motion goes one way, and they kind of like Naker counter it back. You're going to see an option play off of that a little bit later, but that pitch man's got to keep a little better relationship, or you're going to see another fumble if they do attempt it.
You know, you got a tight end like Luke Carlar, and I've always wondered why Greeley doesn't go to him more, but the fact is he does not have the greatest speed in the world and does not have the best hands in the world, but he still has great size. And now 3rd and long, and Bard is back to pass under heavy pressure, and Corey Tronson with a sack, and I mean a loss of about 10 yards on the play.
And he's very aggressive, very quick-nosed man. He was in that backfield at the snap of the ball. He certainly read that play well.
So now, Ron, it'll be 4th and about 22 right here.
Now let's see what happens. Are they going to return, or are they going to go to the block after being successful so much last week?
I think Greeley did see the tape of that game, though. Pete Cariello is back to receive punts. Poor Pete was all ready to receive punts last week and didn't get any workout at all because
48 here. I think he's got excellent speed. He's going to be the man they're going to go to.
High snap. Alex Grishman does not get a good one off at all. It goes out of bounds right there. Number 43, Alex Grishman. I'm sure he saw a little bit of the tape of the game, too.
What's interesting about that, Joe, is that even though, and of course, Greeley had the game scouted, they came back with the tape, saw how they blocked the punt. Even though the punt is not blocked, the pressure and the psychological advantage of coming after that punt so aggressively is going to affect how the ball is actually going to be kicked. Now, also don't forget, Lardier was their punter as well.
Oh, definitely. As you pointed that out.
The combination of the two things together.
It's going to be tough, and Yorktown takes over at the Greeley 30. Honestly, in a game like this, one touchdown might win it. We'll have to see. So if Yorktown scores, it is going to be big here, and this might be the time to do it. There is now just 27 seconds to go in quarter number one, but they have ideal field position right now, starting this drive at the Greeley 30. And the give is to Page on a counter, maybe a pickup of 4 yards on the play, and that is it. But, talking to Bill Tribo, he said that, obviously the league title is at stake today, a Final Four appearance. He said all that stuff is well and good, but we're only looking at it. We're not thinking about a bowl yet. We're only looking at it as far as winning the league title, and also the fact that this team has outscored us 66-0 the last 2 years. And he said, my kids are really looking to even the score. And he said, this is something his kids have been looking forward to for a long time. We've taken a beating from Yorktown, whether it's football or lacrosse. And in fact, Yorktown has won 6 in a row in football, and Ron in lacrosse. And a lot of the football players play lacrosse. Yorktown is 19-0 lifetime against Greeley.
Yorktown's probably 19-0 against everybody. I know they are against John Jay. I don't think John Jay's ever beaten them.
So really?
But I can tell you this. I don't know, was that a timeout, Joe?
No, end of the quarter right there, Ron, and we are going to take a break. And we'll just mention before we do, 19-0 in lacrosse and 6 straight in football. Bill Tribo says settle the score. They have plenty of scores to settle to the Horace Greeley Quakers when it comes to Yorktown. And that is the end of the first quarter. We have no score. Yorktown is driving, and we'll come back here from Yorktown High School in just a moment. You're watching the Game of the Week on ESV Sports.
This is Joe Lombardi here.
And we're getting set now for the start of the second quarter. And it is 2nd down and 8. And the give is to Rich Deagle. And a sweep for Deagle. And he breaks a couple of tackles, and he will be close to a first down. The senior halfback, Rich Deagle, has come on of late for the Yorktown Huskers.
First down, Yorktown.
And that indeed will be a first down for the Huskers, and it will push the ball to about the 18-yard line.
He came into his own in the Fox Lane game, Joe. He really had a fine game there.
And defensively, too, from his defensive end finish. And here we are, and right there, it's all going to be wiped out, though, by a flag we did not see, an illegal procedure penalty against the Huskers.
I thought I caught one, but I didn't see the flag.
Yeah.
I was way over the other side of the field.
Well, we got to get on Chuck Teebs about that, Ron. He's had enough experience using his hands in football. He was an All-American quarterback, and you see him making it with a white hat, Chuck Teebs. And Chuck went on to Purdue University on a full scholarship, and you were telling me they converted him to defensive back.
He started his sophomore year, and then he was very successful in the Big Ten. Then during spring ball, they made him a defensive safety out of him, defensive back.
And there you see Chuck Teebs, the referee with the white hat, who was the All-American at Purdue University. There's Chuck.
He played right here at Westlake High School.
And
great basketball player and a good catcher in baseball as well.
All right, so the illegal procedure penalty will bring up now a 2nd and 15. Ball is at the 35-yard line, and they're going to a shotgun formation. This is a new wrinkle in the Yorktown offense, and it's a running play after all that. It goes to Evan Page, and maybe a pickup of 5 yards on the play. I've never seen Yorktown run a shotgun formation.
That's the first time I've seen a shotgun out of Yorktown for the last 3 years. At any rate, I hadn't seen them run that before.
And obviously, what they were trying to do was try and juke Greeley into thinking they were going to throw the football out of the shotgun, but the handoff was to the halfback, Evan Page, and I said a 5-yard gain. It was actually more like a 3-yard gain. So it'll bring up 3rd and a long 12 here. Just underway, second quarter, no score. This is a big down right here, Ron. Yorktown takes over at the Greeley 30. They want to capitalize. They want to get good field position, and they got good field position, I should say. They want to get some points on the board. Otherwise, we could have a 0-0 tie here.
That's the place to go, backside flat.
McCutcheon, plenty of time to throw, and he overthrows Jay McFarland.
I thought the official started to reach for his flag. It looked like it hit after the ball was out of play. But not particular defense. That's the place to go, the backside flat. The defensive end has to drop off and cover the backside flat. And actually, it took a lot of time for that play to develop, so it was pretty well covered.
So it is now a 4th down and 13. Yorktown thought about going for it, but decides instead to bring out Elio Mazzella in the punting team. Now, there's no question, Ron. We've seen Elio Mazzella punt the football. This kid can punt it over the fence if he wants to, straight. Now, are they going to have him angle toward one of the...
He should, yeah. They're angled around, try and get it inside the 5 if he can. You know, that's a very difficult thing to teach a kid.
Very tough. And you risk also having it go off the side of your foot and having a potential disaster there of maybe a 5 or 10 yard punt. He is going to try and angle it, and he does angle it toward the left, but it'll go out of bounds.
Oh, it looks pretty good. Looks at about the 8.
About the 8 yard line. Good job there for Elio Mazzella and the Yorktown Huskers. He does a fine job there. Only his second game punting for Yorktown, and he looks like one of the better punters I've seen.
I can remember when you first start to try to teach a youngster to shoot for the corners, you know, you just tell them to take the field and turn it at an angle and,
Right.
as if you're trying to cook it.
Yep.
But that was a very nice job done, very well placed.
Now it looks like we're in a situation where Yorktown is going to rely on its defense once again to set up the offense. And last week, Yorktown had a couple of first and goal opportunities and did not capitalize in the opening game. And as I said, all the points coming from the Yorktown defense. One,
That's that counter again.
and Bardwell on the keeper, and about a 5 yard, 6 yard pickup for John Bard, maybe more, maybe closer to a first down.
He got him a little room.
And it is a first down, so a 10 yard pickup officially for the quarterback, John Bard, on the play.
I'm
Number
surprised
7.
they're able to get outside as quickly as they have been getting outside with that type of either naked or the threat of the option. But they've been very successful doing it.
And we mentioned last week the defense scoring all the points for Yorktown. Of course, the safety snapping a 6-6 tie. On the other play, Austin attempting a quick kick, and the ball was recovered in the end zone off a block by Mikey DeAndrea. And the quarterback once again
That's
on the
same
keeper.
play, Joe.
Exact same play for Bard, and another nice pickup for John Bard. He has seen a total of just 3 pass attempts in the game, and we are early in the second quarter. Certainly both teams want to grind it out and keep it on the ground. Let's talk about the position right now of the Greeley Quakers, Ron, as far as we're going to talk more about this at halftime. But they have no losses right now. Can they afford a loss and still make a Final Four? They play Lincoln next week. That's a likely win for them.
A lot depends upon what's happening with the other teams, and today is a big day.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have Harrison in the hunt, you have Poughkeepsie, you have Somers, Yorktown, obviously Greeley this game.
Nyack is unbeaten.
Nyack, of course, is unbeaten, and as it stands right now, if they go through the schedule as they're expected to, they would be the number 1 call, and the others of the ones we just mentioned will be fighting out, but everything depends on what happens today.
Yeah. So with Pearl River beating Brewster rather decisively and playing Tappan Z now next week, looks like Pearl River, of all teams,
They're also in the hunt.
could be in very good position as well. Disappointing year for the Brewster Bears.
Well, sometimes, Joe, you know, you have to go back and start to rebuild your programs, and you just don't have that talent every year. As we mentioned before, a lot of things have to fall in place.
I think the problem with Brewster is a lot of big kids don't go out and play football out there. I think that might be it. But we don't know.
Well, I'll tell you, for a number of years I coached against Brewster, and they always had some big kids. So
That's right.
they're very aggressive and
They're a hard-hitting team with
very
Brian
hard-hitting
Wolf.
football team. They always have been, still are.
3rd and short for Greeley. Look for the fullback, Wagner. But no, the quarterback keeps it, and he gets a first down easily. John Bard breaking one tackle after another. Ron, you got to believe that John Bard would be a fine running back if they ever employed him there. And he is more of a running quarterback than a throwing quarterback, certainly.
You take, obviously, your best athletes and you put them in that position so that they can, not only physically, but mentally, they have to be prepared to play that position. He, right now, has assumed the leadership and, obviously, the load of running the ball with Lardier being out. And coach is calling safe offensive plays.
And the give now is to Wagner. Rich Deagle from his defensive end position reads the play well and stops him dead in his tracks for a loss of about 2 on the play. You know, Yorktown's defense, Ron, we're seeing this in the game this year. They've not been the dominating unit they've been in years past. They've been a bend but don't break unit. But I tell you what, we've seen this last week and again thus far today. They've come up with a big play.
They'll force
sacks
it.
when they need to. They seem to come up with a big play.
They'll force that big play. That's what makes them a good defensive team. Now, nobody, obviously, that was a read on the end. They elected to give to the fullback. Nobody touched the defensive end. Now we may see the option come right back at him the same way.
The quarterback keeper. And no, instead
Same
it goes
play.
to the fullback, and Wagner dropped for a big loss. Deagle once again coming in from his defensive end position. we talked about the big plays on defense, the fumble recovery today, the sack by Corey Tronson. Last week, an overlooked play was Pete Cariello intercepting the ball in the right corner of the end zone for a touchback when Ossing was leading 6-0 and driving right down the field. If they score there, the game's probably over.
It's one thing to force those breaks, Joe, and you like to think that you teach them to force them that way. It's another thing to capitalize on them. I mean,
And
if you don't capitalize on them, then...
They simply did not last week, and again, left it all up to the defense. They have not thus far today. The Yorktown offense has really been stymied the last couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens now. Defensively, though, for Yorktown, this is a big play. 3rd and 12. Bard is back to pass. He might keep it, though. He's got running room. And this kid just looks to run with a football around at all times right there. He did have a few open receivers, Dan Fallon downfield, but he was just going to run with a football.
Yeah, I think what you got to see here is the tight end dragging across. Next time they run that play, who was wide open at that particular time, right? You got a 4th and 5. Let's see what happens with the kicking game on this one. See if Yorktown puts the pressure on again.
I think Tribo's going to punt the football. He's not going to take any chances.
No, he'll punt it. I just want to see what happens here on the pressure.
We'll see if Yorktown applies pressure. Greeley and if the Yorktown defense
Yorktown has
gets in. Cariello, I should say, back to receive. High snap. And it goes to Cariello. He has to backtrack a little bit. Good blocking.
It's a block below the waist. It's going to be a 15-yarder right from there.
That's exactly what it was. And had the block not been made, it looked like Rob Speck would have been able to level Pete Cariello at about the 15-yard line.
That's from the point of the foul, which is the 16-yard line. So they'll put that ball approximately back to the 8.
So now with the problems Yorktown's offense has had, Greeley could be setting itself up for starting a drive in good field position. Very simply, that's the way we have to approach the game right now. Very unlikely that with the field position they have, Yorktown's going to be able to move the ball and mount a scoring threat right here. So the ball is going to be pushed all the way back to the Yorktown 7-8 yard line. We have 7:27 to go here in the second quarter. It is homecoming at your league championship game. And the band played on right in our
We're entertained at the same time.
And the give is to Cariello on the blast, about a 3 or 4 yard pickup. Ron, isn't there a rule in the Section 1 handbook that you can't play during while the game's going on at the band?
That's in basketball.
Oh, that's okay.
We got the wrong sport here. Yorktown now being in their own territory, they're going to come out safely the same way with their offense. And again, the give to the fullback, hoping he can pop that through and break it.
There are a lot of sacred rules in football, including no cheering in the press box. That's one of them. That's an important one. But certainly the band playing in your ear.
No cheering out of the control room either.
That's hard to control.
There's a counter.
Yorktown keeping it on the ground. Ron, simply they're not going to risk an interception here. And even though it's going to be 3rd and about 7 yards, that was a 1 yard loss on the play. They're going to run the football again and hope Elio Mazzella can punt the heck out of the ball.
You may see another type of counter play here.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to get the flow going one way and come back the other way, such as Greeley did to them in the first quarter. I don't believe that Yorktown will throw or wants to throw the ball this deep in their own territory right now.
So look for the counter. We're sure they won't throw it here. We can guarantee you that. And it is a counter, and nothing doing. Greeley read the play well, so not much suspense or drama on that series right there. And now it's going to be left up to Elio Mazzella and his right leg right here. Elio is a senior member of this Yorktown team, and Yorktown will have to punt the football.
They got to look for a break now here, such as a fumble on the punt return or a fumble by the receiver or what have you. And then take advantage of that break, and then your game will open up a little more. If you're a Yorktown fan.
Mazzella with plenty of time. He gets another fine punt off.
Oh,
and struggling with the ball, for Greeley is Joe Kearns, and he didn't get any of a return. So what another nice punt for Elio Mazzella. And this kid looks like a guy who could punt in college, although, I mean, he didn't even start punting at the beginning of the year.
He had to have punted that ball from inside his own 5 down to the 50. So in the air, it was a 50-yard, 55-yard punt.
And without Elio Mazzella, I don't know if Yorktown beats Ossining last week, and I certainly don't know if they're going to beat Greeley without him today, because punting is going to be a key, as we have established. We've also established the Yonkers connection between coaches Tribo and Santavica. And did you know who Ron Santavica's first game at Yorktown was against? Ron?
Probably Yonkers High School.
No, it was Bill Tribo in 1987, first game of the year. Bill Tribo and the Lakeland Hornets. Bill had a short stint with Lakeland way back when, and Bill Tribo and Lakeland won 12-3 that day.
Is that right? Because I do know that Coach Santabec is one of his first head coaching positions was at the old Yonkers High School.
Yep, exactly. And Tribo and Lakeland won, but he has not beaten Ron Santavica since then.
Coach Santavica still has one idiosyncrasy he has not abandoned. He still wears shorts. I don't care what the weather is.
He did abandon the other garb, though, that he wore during the 21-game winning streak, the black and green jacket. And the handoff to Wagner, maybe a pickup of a yard or two on the play. Bring up 3rd and 4 with 4:15 to go here, second quarter. And no score, Yorktown and Horace Greeley.
That was a super defensive play by Richard Deagle. I actually thought he was being held on the play, and he still made the initial hit and stopped the play. Great defensive play.
He has been all over the place. He's been simply outstanding for Yorktown. You know, I talked to the players after Matt Keone went down, and we were there, Ron, at Fox Lane when it happened, when Matt suffered the unfortunate injury. But the kids on defense said, we're all going to have to step up and pick up our level of play, and they have done that.
Usually when you lose one of your top athletes, that's exactly what has to be done if you're going to continue to be successful.
And everyone has had to rise to the occasion without Matt Keone in there. And Ron Santavica said he tries to teach his players about adversity. In life, you're going to encounter adversity just like in football, and you better meet the challenge head on and not shy away from it.
You're seeing the same thing from John Bard today. He's picked up the slack which they haven't had with the loss of their top running back. He's picked up that slack, and he's trying to do it all for Greeley today, and he's doing an admirable, very admirable job.
And we do a 4-minute warning. That is why we have the timeout and the Water Boys on the field for both teams. And we mentioned the Lakeland win over Yorktown and Ron Santavica's coaching debut at Yorktown. And since then, Bill Tribo has dropped 4 in a row against Ron Santavica. He is in his 4th year as the coach of the Greeley Quakers. And a quarterback sneak, actually, by John Bard. And he's going to have the first down and then some. Look at that run by John Bard. He just dragged along the linebackers from Yorktown and some of the players in the secondary with him.
He's got very strong legs, good leg drive, good power, and he just wouldn't go down.
On a quarterback sneak, a 15-yard gain almost. That was quite a play.
Particularly of a short yard defense.
It was indeed. Now we hear officially from our statistician, Anthony Nicodemo, a 15-yard pickup indeed. This is Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons. We're joined up in the booth by our producer, Bill Townsend.
I think that's Greeley's last time out, Joe.
Now they take the last time out with 3:32 to go. Why would this be the spot for the timeout with 3:32 to go?
I don't figure this one, particularly if they're moving the ball. The first down, the ball's on the 31-yard line, and they have an opportunity. If they get some confusion a little later on with new people coming in and out, they're going to need that timeout. But Coach Tribal maybe wants to get something special in there.
He might be looking at this as a potential game-winning drive. I said last week this could very well be a 7-0 type game. Now I'm beginning to think that might have been a little bit of a liberal pick. You might see.
I picked 20, Joe.
Yes.
So 20 to 6. So
before the game, you said that
it's not over yet.
That John Jay, when you saw John Jay play Greeley,
well, I've made the
they were able to move the ball.
Yeah, I made the comparison of John Jay versus Greeley and John Jay versus Yorktown. And John Jay was able to move the ball much more freely against Greeley than they were against Yorktown, although they did move the ball against both teams. I actually, after watching the tape, thought that John Jay might have won the football game. They moved it so well against Greeley. So, and I figured that Yorktown's defense, from what I have seen in previous contests, was much stronger than Greeley, so I figured the defense would carry him at least 2 touchdowns better.
The difference has been the play of John Bard. Not that Greeley has been dominating offensively, but just the fact they've been able to muster anything at all is the credit to John Bard.
As a fake counter.
Goes to the halfback, and that is Tom Hanrahan. Pickup of about a yard or 2 on the play, but like you said, John Bard has certainly stepped up his play without Mike Lardier, and certainly that has been the key for Greeley. Not that they've scored, as I said, but just the fact that they've even been able to get anything going or move the ball into Yorktown territory. So now it's 2nd and 9 at the Yorktown 30, I should say. Greeley with the football at the Yorktown 30. We now have 3:02 and counting to go here in the second quarter, and there is still no score here at Yorktown High School in the League 2A championship game. And it goes to Wagner, and Yorktown again reads that play very well. So 2nd and 9, no gain on the play.
Corey Trochin again.
Corey Trochin from his nose guard position, making the hit. So now it brings up 3rd down. That was on 2nd and 9.
Extremely quick.
Very quick. And you really have to double team. From what I've seen the last few weeks, that's the guy you got to put a double team on. He has just been dominant and just almost unstoppable.
Well, they moved him off the nose to the outside
Yes,
to the tackle position.
They have. And the fullback, Adam Wagner, will have about a 4-yard pickup on the play. We'll have a 4th down and a long 4 here. Greeley's going to go for it, and we'll see what they come up with.
I don't know if Yorktown had an injury last game in that particular position or not, but Greeley was extremely successful coming to their left with the fullback off that left tackle side. What they're doing now is they're flip-flopping Trochin, either from the tackle to the nose, not giving them any indication of where he's going to be lined up. He happened to be lined up at the tackle left. Now he's back at the nose guard.
And now it is a 4th and a long 5, and the ball is at the 27. Greeley, of course, will go for it here. Look for the quarterback option play, I would have to think.
No throw.
No, he might still run. No, he's actually going to throw. And good defense there by Matt Cole, number 50, to deflect and bat the ball away. He did drop back to pass. He appeared to be looking for Dan Fallon, the split end, and Luke Carlaw, the tight end, number 81. So Yorktown will take over on. With 1:30 to go.
You know what I haven't seen, which I might have expected right there, is either the draw play, or because they haven't thrown the ball much, or some type of short screen because Yorktown is so aggressive.
That's the play Yorktown had in its arsenal last year, the jailhouse break, kind of an underscreen, and they have not unveiled it yet. I would think in a big game like this, they might employ it at some point.
Well, with the McCutcheon at quarterback throwing the shorter type of pass than what Keone throws, I think you will see that before the contest is over.
All right, so we will keep an eye on
They
that.
really haven't had the field position to do it.
They have not. They did take over one drive at the Greeley 30, but penalties hurt them on that occasion. The last pickup by Cariello was a 3-yard gainer, bring up 2nd and 7 right here for Yorktown. Ball at its own 31-yard line. We now have 58 seconds to go here in the first half of play. And the game is kept, actually the quarterback keeps it, McCutcheon, and now Yorktown should take a timeout here and stop the clock, and they will, with 53 seconds to go here in the first half.
Legal procedure against Yorktown. You're going to have a 5.
All right, so there was no timeout. It is an illegal procedure penalty, and there we see Coach Ron Sanavica talking to Jared McCutcheon on the sideline and going over what he wants to see here. And we will point out Yorktown will get the ball to start the second half of play. They won the opening toss and deferred until the second half. So Yorktown will get the ball.
Well, the unofficial time has about 50 seconds left, Joe. And they have, 2 downs left.
All right, to give it to Cariello. Pickup of about 4 yards on the play for the junior fullback, Pete Cariello. And the clock continues to run now. 35 seconds to go, second quarter, no score. League 2A championship game at Yorktown High School. Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons. We're here with Bill Townsend and Tom Ciangelo, and our statistician is Anthony Nicodemo. Also, our production assistant is Jamie Ciangelo here with us. And they give once again to Cariello. Looks like Yorktown will be well shy of the first down on the 3rd and 5, and they're just going to let the clock run out to end the first half.
They're not going to give them the ball back at all.
And that'll do it for the first half. No score. Yorktown and Greeley, League 2A title game. Greeley checking in unbeaten at 5-0, but without its best player and go-to guy Mike Lardiere. And Yorktown with a 4-game winning streak, hopes of getting back to the Final Four. In order to do it, they'll have to win this week and again next week at Portchester, which will be a very, very tough game. So we will see what winds up happening as far as that whole situation is concerned. But right now, the story here has been defense. Both teams doing a good job defensively. Neither team able to get anything going offensively. And in such a big game, Ron, we've seen both teams kind of wary of taking any type of chances on
both
offense.
teams are very well coached on their defense. They know what the other team is going to do. It's just a matter of making that application, being aggressive, continue to be as aggressive as they are, force the break. It's really nothing they haven't seen before. Or for Yorktown, it's a position they haven't been in before. They've played a lot of big ball games in the years past, particularly with Osting, and again this year with Osting, 0-0 halves and what have you. So they've been in this position before, know how to react. I don't know if Greeley has been in this position yet. I don't know what, and I question a little bit maybe Greeley's physical preparedness. They appeared to be a little more exhausted than Yorktown. Maybe that was the reason for the timeouts. I don't know. But,
all right, we will be joined at halftime by Tom Keone of the Section 1 Football Committee, and of course, Osling Athletic Director, dad of Matt Keone.
And another disciple of DiMatteo.
Yep, all the DiMatteo guys.
Another disciple of DiMatteo coming up the stairs
Tom
right
Keone,
now.
And we will be talking to Tom in just a moment. And once again, folks, the score at halftime, 0-0, Yorktown and Greeley. We'll be back with halftime festivities right after this. All right, folks, we're here at halftime. 0-0 is the score in the League 2A championship game between the Greeley Quakers and host Yorktown. And right now we're joined by, as I told you, Tom Keone, who's Osting's athletic director and a member of the Section 1 Football Committee. Good to see you, Tom.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And you guys all had a meeting on Thursday. You went over some of the Week 8 possibilities, some of the bowl possibilities, and give us a little bit of an overview of how things stand right now.
Well, what's going to happen, basically, next Saturday night, we'll have all the results of the first 7 games. And every team is going to be judged based on how well they did on a point system. We call it the Piner system. I've heard you refer to it many times. But basically, every team that you play, based on how they finish, wins and losses, gets a number. They get a winning raw score, and they get a losing raw score. And what you do is you subtract. Every time you beat a team, you get their winning raw score. Every time you lose, you deduct their losing raw score. And then we just number them up, and then the final 4, one will play 4, 2 will play 3. They'll meet in the Section 1 championship. The 2 teams that lose those games will play in another bowl, and then 5 will be playing 8, and 6 will be playing 7, and they'll play off also, and those 2 winners will meet in the third Conference 2 or Class B bowl.
Okay, we got you. So that's the picture with the winners from the Final 4 matchups then meeting in the Section 1 Class B Championship Bowl game, with the winner of that game going on to regional competition, as Yorktown has done the last 2 years, defeating Gorton and also then Nyack last year. But let's take a look now at some of the teams and where they figure into the mix. The Somers-Poughkeepsie game, a big one as far as the whole outlook. That was scheduled to be played last night. At the last minute, they had to change. Yeah, and they moved it till today at 2 o'clock, so we don't know the score. Let's assume Poughkeepsie wins that football game. And let's assume also that Kennedy and loses to Nyack next week, which is probably likely to happen. Both those teams would finish at 4-2-1. They would be out of the Final 4, I would think, but still have a bowl possibility. Is that right?
Probably, Joe. 2 losses and a tie usually get you out of the Final 4, but my guess is they would still have a shot to be in that second 4, that 5 through 8 grouping, and it's very possible they could meet in a meaningful game. Not only it might be the game that gets them into that third bowl game, or it might be that third bowl game itself. So I think the people who would like to see that rematch still do have a shot that way. If neither of them get in the top 8, that game is not going to happen. At Thursday's meeting, the athletic directors from the 3 schools, and prior to the season, when your colleague here, Ron, was the athletic director at John Jay, he fought like hell to get that John Jay Kennedy game. Yeah. He wasn't successful, but what he did do, he did get the athletic directors to agree that if neither of those schools were in the top 8, they would definitely play, and that agreement's going to be upheld.
Let's take a look as far as this possibility. Now, you say Kennedy and John Jay are going to play. That's in Week 8. Right now.
They're definitely going to play each other if neither of them finishes in the top 18.
Oh, in the top 8. Okay.
The top 8, because
okay,
the top 8 is set. That's all a bowl structure.
So in order to go to a bowl, you've got to be in the top 8.
You've got to be in the top 8. Okay, then 9 will play 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, right up to 18. Okay. However, regardless, Kennedy will play John Jay if neither of them finish in the top 8.
Because I was going to say, I thought Kennedy and John Jay were going to play regardless of whether they finish in the top 8, and Kennedy would still have a bowl, and I would say that might be a little unfair to Somer.
Right.
Okay, so
that's exactly why.
Okay, so we've established that right now. Explain just a little bit, if you would, Tom Keone from the Sectional Football Committee, about the whole Piner system. What a tie. Some people might be confused. Somers and Kennedy with the tie. What does that do for them and the whole point?
What the Piner system does, Joe, and I know you're familiar with it, is it takes into account every kind of a 7-game record. Yep. 1 win, 5 ties, 1 loss. And for every record that you can think of, you get a winning raw score or some kind of a numbering, and you get a losing raw score. If you beat that team, you get their winning raw score. If you lose to them, you have to deduct their losing. For instance, a team that's 1-6 is going to have a very big losing raw score. God forbid you lose to them, your chances of having a high point total are almost nil. On the other hand, Kennedy has had to play 3 pretty good football teams, and if they knock off, they tied one already in Somers. If they knock off a Nyack, they're going to get a lot of points for that win, because Nyack's winning raw score is a high number.
So they could shoot right up into the
They could
Final
get in there,
Four.
and you know, I had something to do with the schedule. I was on the scheduling committee, and Kennedy, Portchester, and Lincoln had to play the most tough teams. There were each three teams in the proverbial top 7, although it's not falling like that. And as I told the Kennedy athletic director, you win a couple of those games, you're right in the Final Four, so you've got an opportunity. If you can't win them, you don't deserve to be there anyway.
Absolutely, and anyone who beats Nyack deserves to be in the Final Four.
7 or 8, 9 teams in the hunt, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, also built into this particular system, which we have, is those negative points, such as when you play a school which has lower classification, such as Harrison playing Rye. Even though if Harrison beats Rye, they'll still receive some negative points because they played a lower class size school.
That deserves some mention, Joe. Harrison beat Yorktown 34-16, I guess, the first game. And Harrison does play Rye, and Rye is a Conference 3 team. What the bowl committee did is they looked and they said, well, how would Rye do in our league? And no one could really say, our conference. So what they did is they took the winning and losing raw scores from a 500 team. And they saw, and what they did is they made a decision to deduct 5 points from Harrison's final score. As it turns out, Rye has not done real well even in Conference 3 this year, so the chances of them competing real well in our conference this year probably wouldn't be good anyway.
So that loss to Mamaroneck probably has knocked Harrison out of the Final Four picture, realistically.
Not definitely. They're still in the hunt, but it's going to be close. I'll have my calculator out, and next Saturday night about 7 o'clock we'll have some answers.
That's another example why, you know, you cannot always keep your traditional rival that you elect to keep. For example, the John J. Kennedy, we had to abandon that with a possible agreement. If we weren't the top 8, you know, we could schedule it at the end of the year. Harrison was unwilling to give up that traditional rival with Rye. So, you know, playing a lower class school, they had to have negative points assigned to them.
They're going to have to make a decision because that game is bigger than a bowl game down there.
It's bigger than a bowl game. They'll never give it up.
They can't go to the state playoff either if they probably continue to play it.
Well,
unless they go unbeaten.
Well, next year, you know about this, I believe. The state has voted to go to 5 classifications. They're going to take the small A schools, the large B schools. So we have a feeling that Harrison being a smaller B school and Rye being a larger 3, they might be in that B classification next year.
Even also, okay, with negative points by beating Rye, depending upon what happens on the field with these other teams, they could still very possibly make very easily one of the top 8.
Yes, they could.
And with that new system, Yorktown will be moving up to the smaller A League, so they won't be playing a lot of the traditional rivals, most likely, that they played in years past, such as Fox Lane and Greeley and John Jay and some of the other teams.
Well, you know, Joe, it's going to be really close because we were looking at the numbers, and everybody's increasing in enrollment. Okay. And there's a good chance a lot of the teams, I think looking at it real quickly, Ossining and John Jay were down there, but they're right on the cusp. They could go either way.
I think you'll see with this next classification. I actually like it. I think you'll see Ossining, Greeley, Fox Lane, Greeley, John Jay all moving up into that lower A classification.
And the Mayapac's coming down, some of those schools.
They'll be up there with us.
We'll look forward to that, and we will talk to you again if you would be kind enough after the whole thing is sorted out, and we'll go over. You know, people always have questions, and you're always the man that answers them. You're put in that position, but you do a good job, and you have the formula. It's been made easier, your job, with the Piner system.
Very objective. The numbers don't lie.
That's all you have to tell the people who do complain, and that's why last year they had a big problem in Conference 3, but they didn't use the Piner system, and now they are. So everything, as Tom said, is cut and dry. Before I let you go, your quick thoughts on, you're up in Syracuse for a conference on sportsmanship, and I've been talking about how there is a lack of sportsmanship on the part of a lot of young players. And tell us some of the stuff. There were 300 athletic directors up there, I believe.
I'll tell you, Joe, it was terrific. It was a sportsmanship summit. Basically what the state athletic department is doing, they're challenging each school to do an assessment on sportsmanship in their own school. You put a committee together, you check off all the things you're doing, all the things you can do, develop an action plan. And on November 2nd, the athletic directors in Section 1 are going to meet to institute that program here in Westchester County, and it's sorely needed. You see this trash talk, videos, and the kids, the role models they're asked to follow is just embarrassing.
Deion Sanders and the like, yeah, that's definitely the case. And we're going to bring in your son Matt here, and while you're here, tell us, you know, you followed Matt all these years, freshman, JV, now varsity. It's got to hurt a little bit to see him not in action, but you know, you got to be proud of all he's accomplished. But a lot of emotions have to be running through your mind, your wife, Janet, the last couple of weeks. It's been tough.
I thought you might ask me that, and every time Matt's done something well athletically, we've always said, well, that's great, but it's the kind of person he is that really what we're proud of. And that hasn't changed. He isn't playing. He's played in 36 football games here. He's only lost 3 of them. He's had a chance to play in 2 state championship games. He's played in over 60 varsity lacrosse games, won over 50 of them. A state championship in lacrosse and 2 state semifinals. And not very many parents are lucky enough to have had that opportunity. So, you know, the injury happened, and you know, all those games, it's going to happen sooner or later. And we're just happy it's not a one that's going to keep him disabled for any period of time. But he's just a great kid, and the athletics is icing on the cake. But thanks for asking.
When Matt went down, Joe, I think you remember we were doing the game. I said to you at that particular time, I said, Mr. and Mrs. Keone, I think I'm one of the only guys in the house that knows how they feel right at that particular Same thing happened to my son his senior year. He came back for lacrosse very strong. By the way, it happened against Yorktown, too. But I really, you know, you feel for everybody involved, and particularly, you know, the athletes, but the parents, they feel it as well.
Let's bring in Matt right now, and want to get him on camera here because good to see you again, Matt.
Good, you do.
And we're going to bring you on. If you'd be kind enough to join us a little bit in the third quarter, give us some of your thoughts. But it's got to be a big transition for you last couple of weeks being on the sideline after being the most integral player on the field, really.
Yeah, you know, it sucks that you can't play, but I'd like to help out Jared a lot because I only want good things for him, for the rest of the team. So, you know, there's no sense crying over spilled milk.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You've taken it well, and you have a good attitude about it. And you seem to be coming around well. No sling or anything. You look a lot better than you did each week, and seems to be that type of progression with this type of injury.
Yeah, it's getting better fast. You know, faster it gets better. That's great. You know, but nothing you can really do about it.
All right. Well, Matt, we'll be back with you in a moment as we get ready to start the third quarter. We'll get your thoughts on the game, and we want to thank Tom Keone. We appreciate it a lot, Tom, and of course Ron Lyons will be right back with us in just a moment. 0-0 is the score, folks. League 2A championship game here at Yorktown High School, and we'll be back at the start of the second half right after this.
This is Joe Lombardi here.
And to start the second half, the Horace Greeley Quakers will kick off. Tom Hanrahan, number 10, will handle those duties for the Quakers. Pete Cariello, number 29, as well as Evan Page and Jamin Romano back to receive for the Yorktown Huskers. And here is the opening kick of the second half. It goes to Cariello. He takes it at about his own 15-yard line, has some running room, and finally stopped at about the 28-29-yard line. And Rob Speck makes the tackle for the Greeley Quakers. Return of about 15 yards. This is Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons, and we're joined by Matt Keone, the injured quarterback for the Huskers, out with the broken collarbone injury. And Matt, what were your thoughts on the first half of play?
You know, it was tough. It was kind of frustrating watching it, you know. Neither team, you know, we couldn't move the ball on offense too well, and we just stopped them, but it's frustrating not to see too much going on.
And we'll see what Yorktown comes up with. Not good field position here, so unlikely they will pass the football. And the give goes to Pete Cariello straight up the middle, but there is a flag on the play. It could be a legal procedure against the Yorktown Huskers, and that is indeed what it is. So that's going to further push them back. The key thus far in the last couple of games, or one of the keys, Matt, has been Elio Mazzella and the punting of Mazzella. Incredible job he has done. Where did he come from?
Well, you know, we start practice off by punting every day, and Josh Wilson's the usually punts for us, but he pulled some muscles in his plant leg. So they gave Elio the nod. He came in. He's doing a great job. He's really helping us out a lot. Last week was, he's probably the MVP of the game.
If this is their second team punter, I'd like to see the first team punter. This guy, he's kicked him 55, 60 yards.
Yeah, he's looked like one of the punters I've seen in a long time, like a college punter, Gonzalo.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 1st and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. They gave this to Deagle on a sweep and maybe a gain of 2 or 3 yards on the play. Nothing doing right there. And I said last week, Matt, we could see a 7-0 score in this game, and maybe that's a little bit of a liberal prediction. We might have a scoreless tie here. Both teams, such a big game, they're both playing pretty conservatively.
They are. Both teams are playing great. I'm sure at halftime they both found out what was going on and what's going to work for them and what's not. They're going to come out and we're going to see some scoring in the second half.
All right, I hope you're right on that one, man. I really do. 5-yard pickup right there. These scoreless defensive struggles are tough to call, let me tell you. All right, the give goes to
Jamin Romano.
Jamin Romano, 23, maybe a pickup of a yard or two on the play for the junior halfback, Jamin Romano. And actually more than that, about 3 or 4 yard pickups. So bring up 3rd and a long 6 for the Huskers. And Matt, we were talking about the underscreen pass we saw quite a bit last year in the Austin game and in the state finals. Is that a play we might see if the field position's there, do you think?
Well, not only that, but, the coaches kind of feel that one out. It's not really a play that you use at a certain time. It's whenever, they think the other team's set up for it. So that's definitely a possibility.
McCutcheon back to pass, will air it out, but it looks to be pass interference on John Bard. And that's a bad penalty, Ron, by Bard, because there's no way McFarland was going to catch that ball.
Well, actually, I thought it was incidental contact. I didn't think the flag should have been thrown, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
The legs got tangled up, and that's incidental contact, and they got a break.
All right, and certainly in a game like this, you hope to capitalize on a break like that. And Bard, who has been such a key for Greeley in this game, takes what could be a key penalty there from his secondary position. And what type of pattern was that Yorktown ran on that?
That pattern was just a quick 3-step by Jared McCutcheon, and Jay McFarland run a little fade. And that time, he got tripped up a bit, and they called it.
You and Jay had developed in quite a potent passing combination. He's got the tools, doesn't he? He's a good player, good size, good
Yeah,
hands.
he can catch the ball, run, he has moves, he can do a lot of things, and as long as he continues to do it, we'll be fine.
And the ball's at the 50 offside, so against Greeley should be the call right here. And
I think it was a movement by 81, the wideout
by
legal
McFarland?
procedure, yeah.
So that would be against Yorktown then, if they drew Greeley. Well, let's see what it is. Get the official to call. No, it is against Greeley.
Oh, we got another break. Shows you what I see.
I was right the first time. So for another 5 yards now. So the penalties now starting to take their toll here against the unbeaten Forest Greeley Quakers. McFarland was lined up wide left.
Well, he even went like this and slapped himself, so he thought he made the mistake.
But someone on Greeley also went offside. So I think both things might have happened.
Yeah.
I don't think the Greeley player, though, was drawn off by McFarland, but should have been 2 flags on the play, perhaps. And look for Yorktown to go back to its ground game right now. The rain has started to pick up a little bit here at Yorktown High School.
There goes Jamin Romano.
Nice pickup for Jamin. About a 10-yard gainer right there. What was that, a trap?
That was a different kind of trap play, counter try.
Counter.
Okay, right there.
No
And
flag.
No flag is right. Keep an eye out for that. And Jamin Romano, man, is a guy not many people knew about coming in this season, but against Saunders, he had all 3 touchdowns in the game and rushed for over 100 yards.
He really helps us out every game, at his free safety position. He does a lot. He really came on offense, too, and we needed it. We only had a couple halfbacks left because of injuries. And he came on, he stepped up, did the job.
All right, so that gives Yorktown a first down, and a give to Cariello, stacked up at the line of scrimmage after the 11-yard pickup by Jamin Romano. And Greeley's defensive line, Matt, we've seen. They are very impressive, and Phil Tribo said you're not going to be able to run the ball, just run the ball against us and win, and we've seen that.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been playing very well, we've been working hard against them, and sooner or later we're hoping that
Should have been too difficult
through.
to prepare for them, though, Matt, because they're very much similar defensively to Yorktown.
They really are with the 5-0 read, and there's a counter right there to Evan Page. Nothing doing, as once again the words of Bill Tribe are ringing true. You can't run the ball against them. Nothing doing right there. So 2nd and 11, but we do have another penalty. This one will be against Yorktown. And Ron Stanovica, very upset. You see him there in the lower part of your screen and talking to Jared McCutcheon.
I think he's upset. Jared didn't wait for everyone to get set that time. Sometimes it's tough to tell, you take a little look, and everyone looks like they're set. And by the time you call it, someone's moving.
Hey, Matt, if McCutcheon goes down, who's on the line next?
If McCutcheon goes down, we brought up the JV quarterback, Joey Roberta. He's number 13. He's plays on JV. He's pretty good, too. He's very fluid. He's going to be a good one.
And in order to do that, Yorktown has had to reschedule its JV games to Monday. They started with the Ossining game. And Joe Roberta on the quarterback of the unbeaten JV Yorktown team, which has won 27 games in a row, as Matt told you. He is the backup to Jared McCutcheon. And McCutcheon back to pass, gives it to Romano, but nothing doing there, as Jamin tripped up after making the reception.
Jared was kind of thrown into a tough position, you know. He his first start came in the Ossining game, which, you know, we've been rivaling for as long as Coach has been here. And then the next week he's playing for the league title on our homecoming. So he's been thrown in a tough situation. I think he's handling it pretty well.
And fourth down right now, and Yorktown will have to punt, and Mazzella will be back. And back to receive for the Greeley Quakers is number 8, and that would be Joe Kearns. And Mazzella gets another fine punt off, angled toward the left side, and will it be a touchback? It will. And Feglia trying to down the football, unable to do it. And another outstanding punt for Elio Mazzella, and Greeley will take over at its own 20-yard line. Now we'll keep an eye on that clock. 8:20 to go here in quarter number 3. The way the game has progressed, you got to figure one score might be enough here.
That's right. One score in this game might ice it.
And we've seen that the last couple of weeks, but what a change in the Yorktown defense, Matt. And they've only allowed 13 points in the last 4 games, back-to-back shutouts, and then allowing 7 points to Fox Lane, 6 to Ossining. This defense, as we look at Greeley getting set to take this first snap, they've bended, but they haven't broken, and they've come up with a big plays the last couple of weeks. I'm talking about interceptions, fumble recoveries, and big sacks, too.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that, you know, we needed, and they've done it. You know, Coach takes a lot of pride in defense, and he's really stepped it up.
And right there, it was a 2-yard pickup for the Greeley Quakers, bring up a 2nd and 8. Clock continuing to run now at 7:55 to go, third quarter, no score. Greeley and Yorktown here at Yorktown High School in the League 2A championship game. Senior John Bard, the quarterback for the Quakers. And that looks like it was Adam Wagner, the fullback, and nothing doing right there on that handoff. Actually, it was Hanrahan from his halfback position. And how's the rain going to affect things, Matt? It's becoming a more steady rain. Is that going to make the teams even more hesitant to pass?
Well, I'm not sure because the first half, you know, you didn't see a lot of passing, so I don't know how much it'll affect it. It'll probably only pretty much on the runs. You won't be able to get the corner as easily, things like that. But I didn't see much pass in the first half, so I'm guessing, you know, it's not going to affect them too much.
One thing that we have not pointed out, too, is Mike Lardiera's kicked a couple of field goals for the Greeley Quakers this year. He's out, so that possibility probably is not there. And they give us a Hanrahan, and he's got a pickup of about 2 yards. He'll be well shy of the first down, bring up 4th and a long 3.
Well, they ran the counter again on 3rd down. Shows he really doesn't want to throw the football, particularly in the field position that he's at. So he'll come back with the counter, which he feels is a soft play, try and catch him on their pursuit. I think this is where you're going to see your break, right here.
A block or something along those, a long return. All right, we'll see if Ron Lyons is right. We're all on guard watching for it. We're hoping for something in this game. And the punt does get off, and Cariello is back to receive, takes a couple of bounces, hits a Greeley player in the back of the shoulder pads, and will be down at about the 40. Not bad field position here for Yorktown. We'll see what they can do with it.
A break could have been created there, Joe. There's something which people don't realize, that even though the ball inadvertently hit the kicking team's player, okay? The whistle had not blown it dead. They all walked away from it. Yorktown could have picked up the ball, advanced it, fumbled it, really recovered, and it's still Yorktown's ball to spot a first touching.
You've seen that a couple times last year with Donald Luis. He was known for that.
Yeah, right, okay. Yes, I did. Now that Matt brings it up, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, anything they could get, they certainly would be able to use. And Evan Page on the carry on the counter, about a 5-yard pickup. We talked about Mike Lardiera being the field goal kicker for Greeley. For Yorktown, Josh Wilson, how is that injury, Matt? Do you think he would be brought in for that?
It's tough. He's been, you know, he did it early, and he just thought it would go away. He's been going to the doctor to rehabilitate it. He's all right. If, you know, I think if it comes down to it, he's good enough to make it.
from about, they probably wouldn't try him from more than about 35 yards out, I would
I think it's the time of the game when something's going to happen, Joe. There's about 6 minutes left in this quarter.
Midway through the third quarter, give it to Romano.
There
He's
he
got a
goes.
nice gainer right there. Pickup of about 10 yards on the play. And he'll get a first down. Yorktown has crossed over into Greeley territory. Greeley enters the game with a 5-0 record. The Quakers have won 8 of their last 9 games after starting off 1-3 last year. Yorktown, meanwhile, has won 4 straight after the season opening loss to Harrison. Ball is at the Greeley 48-yard line. Yorktown with a first down there. The give once again to Jamin Romano. He follows his blockers nicely, but only will get about 2 or 3 yards. That play, Matt, took a while to develop, and that's one of the reasons they didn't get much of a gain out of that.
Eric Kuntz has been playing a really nice game for them at the nose tackle. Had missed that tackle in the backfield, missed it clean, but that's only the few times he has missed.
That's right. 2nd and 8.
That's
right
a good
now.
thing about Jamin. He was trapped in the backfield. He gave enough to get back to the line of scrimmage and didn't give Coach a couple more yards to get the first.
Hey, if they throw the ball here and it's completed, it will be a touchdown. If you look at Greeley's defense right now, keying on the run. They are going to throw the football. And, right through the hands of Evan Page.
That might be where the rain's affecting a little bit. Jared got it off nice, but that ball's a little slick. He's having a little trouble.
He hit him in a good spot, though, and that's got to be a little discouraging to him. Throw the ball well that time and just not have it completed.
Good spot to throw the football, and came very close to what would have been a good 15, 20-yard pickup if
This
Evan
would be a
Page.
good spot to run that draw play right here, Joe.
And McCutcheon gets his instructions, and there you see him returning to the huddle. No score now, 4:36 to go in the third quarter. No score still, I should say. 4:36 now to go here, third quarter. McCutcheon back to pass, and he slips. Gets it
Nice.
away, though, to Evan Page. Can he get the first
There
down?
he goes.
Breaks to the outside, and he has the first down and then some. Big play of the game for Yorktown. Good effort by Jared McCutcheon, and a good effort by Evan Page.
That's your screen right there, what we were talking about before, you know. Coaches kind of had to feel that. You don't know when it's coming, but when they feel it, it's going to work.
What a great job by Jared McCutcheon, though. He was losing his footing, and he was slipping and still able. Most quarterbacks might have just held on to the ball right there, not risked an interception.
Yeah, that was a pretty athletic play by Jared. You know, he got it off. He put it right where he had it while falling down.
And after Evan Page caught the ball, did not yet have the first down, cut to the outside, and against Greeley, anytime you're able to go to the outside, you're going to be able to get some running room.
Well,
that was a...
What appears as if he did is he read the drop of the linebackers. If the linebackers dropped real deep, he went underneath them. And they did drop extremely deep that time, and he hit them coming across and made a nice catch out of it, and obviously a good game.
And puts the Yorktown Huskers into Greeley territory. Now they're at the 20-yard line after the 4-yard pickup by Jamin Romano.
It's time of the game, Joe. Something's going to happen.
Ron called it. We'll see. But, Ron, you haven't watched Yorktown the last couple of weeks, including last week. They haven't done it yet. They got a long way to go. They were at the goal line practically against Ossining and unable to score. So
That's just that feeling.
we'll see what happens. And one score might be all it takes here. Greeley is a ball-control, defensive-oriented team. And it's real big test, 2 big tests of the year, Greeley. Portchester, they actually lost the game 7-0. And Ossining, they were trailing 6-3 late in the game. That's indicative of the type of style Bill Tribal likes to play when he's got the big test on the schedule.
Exactly. You know, if you get up on them, they're not going to give up, so you might as well keep on pounding away.
And he has done that. Some other teams might get frustrated. It'd be interesting to see them play against a Poughkeepsie or a team like that. They might get frustrated if they're able to hold them, but of course they have to go outside. Cariello right there might have a touchdown. And he does. Pete Cariello.
Time for something to happen, Joe.
Ron called it an 18-yard pickup for Pete Cariello. Looked like a blast right there for Pete Cariello.
Yeah, that was a trap play that's been working for Pete so well. You know, he scored on that a couple times this year.
That was your fullback bend, wasn't it? Your fullback bend?
Yeah, he bent it, went straight and just bent to the outside. Nice run.
18-yard touchdown run for Pete Cariello. And Yorktown has taken the lead with 3:13 to go. Ron Lyons called it. Something was going to happen, and it did. And Josh Wolfson to attempt a big point-after kick. It's blocked. And that has been a problem the last couple of weeks, Matt. And I tell you what, that's not the biggest play in the world other than this. if Greeley scores, they'll tie the game with a touchdown, but they were going to have to go for the 2 anyway without, I believe, Mike Lardiere.
Lartiere's the kicker. Yeah.
But still, they could tie the game with a touchdown.
That's
So,
tough.
yeah.
On that play, there was nothing that Josh Wilson could have done. You saw Jamin Romano get taken out on that. They can't let that many people through the line as they did.
You were just talking before about Greeley being the type of team that comes back. Now, if Yorktown can create another break and not let that bother them right now, then I think they can pull away.
And that has been a problem the last couple of weeks,
Something
Matt,
like
with
a
the point
fumble on
after
the
kick.
kickoff.
Were you the holder before?
I was the holder. Now Jamin took the spot.
Is there a problem with the blocking, do you see, from the Austin game and
He
again
came
this
through
week?
too quickly, too easily.
They could be big plays, certainly. The extra point's crucial.
I think it was Kuntz, the nose man again, but I'm not sure. But they would have been in a goal line defense. But he did appeared as if he came right between the center and the guard.
All right, the touchdown run for Pete Cariello gives Yorktown the lead, 6-0. Point after kick blocked. We have 3:13 to go in the third quarter. Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons. We're joined by Matt Keone, the injured Yorktown quarterback. Glad to have him with us here in the tower. And our statistician is Anthony Nicodemo. Also joined by Tom Ciancio and our producer Bill Townsend here on ESC Sports, presenting you folks the high school football game of the week. And Kearns right there on the punt return gets a pretty good return of about 15 yards, and Greeley will take over at its own 26-yard line. Big drive for the Greeley Quakers. Are they going to be able to respond to the first score in the game, or are they going to just continue to run that ball control offense that has moved the ball at times but not really mounted a legitimate threat?
I think you'll see the same thing. I think they'll move the ball a bit. A couple times they'll stand them up. I think it's going to be pretty much the same thing you saw the first half.
Greeley has penetrated beyond midfield just twice in the game, and beyond the 40-yard line just one time in a football game here this afternoon. Homecoming at Yorktown High School. And we do have, I believe, do we have a timeout on the
It's
field?
the official's timeout for an equipment repair. If it goes longer than 30 seconds, then you'll get charged.
Okay. And time to tell you folks that today's game is being brought to you by the Sports Attic at 368 Underhill Avenue in Yorktown, where they make it affordable to play, 962-9816, and by Trader Publications and your hometown newspaper, The Patent Trader, 763-2200. And it is an option keeper.
That's
by
a design
John Bart.
sweep all the way by the quarterback. The pitch man was, if that was an option, was way in front of the quarterback.
Man, you've seen John Bart. He's a strong kid. He benches over 300 pounds, and he's a quick kid. And as one who runs that option play so well, what makes it that successful? Why is he able to run it as well as he does too?
He's just a strong runner. He keeps those legs moving, and pretty much he's been everything on offense for him so far.
He really has, without Mike Lardiere. And the fullback, Adam Wagner, is doing well in the first series of the game, but since then, Yorktown has completely shut him down. Here is Adam Wagner, and again, he is completely shut down, and a nice tackle on the play by Matt Cole from his linebacker position coming in, and Matt has started to come on defensively as well for Yorktown. And Matt, these guys on defense have really, we mentioned this in the first half, they've really stepped it up the last few weeks. Rich Deagle, Corey Tronson, Pete Cariello, Matt Cole, Evan Page.
Really continues to probe off their left tackle there on that with that fullback, and they've been switching Corey Tronson to the tackle. He shut it down. Now he's back to the nose.
Right, to give again to Wagner, nothing doing right there on that third and short play. That play has not been there for Greeley ever since the first drive. I don't know, Ron, why they would go to the fullback and not run a counter or quarterback option. Big surprise there.
They've been successful. I look for the counter now. No, I'm sorry. I look for the fullback again.
We do have
on the fourth down. I think he's going to go for it.
You say he's going to go for it here?
I think he'll go with the fullback again.
Fourth and less than a yard.
I don't believe they have any confidence in their kicking game.
He's got 50 seconds to go and counting here in the third quarter, and that is right. They are going to go for it from their own 37-yard line. Big play right here in the game. Fourth and short. Quarterback keeper.
I don't think he made him.
They stopped him short of the first down. Yorktown will take over.
He was extremely successful on that before he picked up 15 yards on it.
They ran the sneak instead of the option keeper right there. And he had a 15-yard pickup on a quarterback sneak earlier, but this is against the goal line defense.
But this is the second break I'm talking about here, Joe. Now, if they can capitalize on this break, they can put the game away.
And they might have already put it away. The way things have gone, it's 6-0, but absolutely, yeah, you need to score again and really put this one away. They're actually going to bring out the chains, and if there's any way they came close to a first down here, I'll be totally mystified. All right, because last week we saw the mysterious play of the year on 3rd and short. Yorktown clearly got a first down on a quarterback sneak, and somehow it was ruled they did not. And if somehow here they were going to rule they got it, that would be another mysterious one.
I think you had, to give Greeley so there'd be no doubt in their mind, the official, and it was good by the officials, had to give him the measurement.
And in such a deck, as you said, Ron, could be the ball game right there.
That's good officiating.
Yeah. And we mentioned Chuck Peeps is the referee today, doing a fine job. And Rich Deagle gets the handoff right there on the right side, pickup of about 2 yards for the senior
with the way Greeley's flowing to the ball right now, it's set up for a great counter coming back by Yorktown.
And the last thing Ron Stanovico is going to do here is risk an interception or any type of turnover. And certainly Ron and Matt, a credit to both teams in these wet conditions, no turnover, just one turnover in this game. We had the Greeley turnover early on in the game that was recovered. But other than that, both teams doing a good job of holding on to the football in the wet conditions. And that will end quarter number 3 here at Yorktown High School. We have a score, Yorktown 6 and Greeley nothing in the League 2A championship game. We will be back with the start of the 4th quarter right after this. You're watching the Game of the Week on ESV Sports.
This is Joe Lombardi here.
And we are getting set now for the start of quarter number 4. Yorktown with the football after stopping Greeley on downs. And the Huskers take over at about the Quaker 36. Pete Cariello on the carry. He's got some running room. Does a good job of breaking tackles and a first down for Cariello on the counter right there. First play of the 4th quarter, and Yorktown gets the first down pickup for Pete Cariello.
Not quite as good as the Somers-Brewster game, Joe. I was, 6 for 6 that day?
The predictions, but yeah. And that, I tell you what, for you to call when there was going to be the score in the game, and this type of game is incredible because we had just seen absolutely nothing before then. And I had no reason to believe we were going to see anything there either as well. The give goes to Jamin Romano, and he'll have a nice second effort there to give him about 4 or 5 yards on the play.
He made that cut upfield. If he tried to keep that wide, he's gonna gain nothing. At one step, plant, turn upfield, he's already got 2 yards.
And that followed a 16-yard pickup for Pete Cariello. This one a 6-yard gainer for Jamin Romano. And you have to be happy if you're on Stanovica because you have no intention of throwing the football now with a 6-0 lead and your running game getting it done thus far. But here's the big play coming up here. 2nd down, and we'll call it a long 3.
There's the counter.
Jamin Romano has about a gainer of a yard or 2, and then he stopped.
It's easy for us to see. If he had cut that one hole back inside, I think he'd be standing in the end zone right now.
Instead, he wound up right in the arms of Rob Speck of the Greeley Quakers, one of the co-captains, and he brings them down with 10:45 to go. The Quakers without Mike Lardiere in this game, their leading rusher and their place kicker and punter, as well as linebacker. Yorktown, of course, without Matt Keone for the 2nd straight week. Their starting quarterback, he's up here with us in the booth, and we're glad to have him. And there's Pete Cariello with a 2 or 3 yard gainer, and that'll be close to a first down. I think he'll be short, about a yard short. Let's see where they spot this one. And, yeah. Now, the ball is at the 10-yard line. A field goal here. Field goal would be 27 yards. And normally Yorktown teams, a 27-yard field goal, very workable, but in the wet conditions and with the uncertainty about the injury to Josh Wilson, they're going to go for it.
He's going to leave him down here, Joe.
Wait, now they're going to call for timeout. Now they're going to call timeout.
I think he's going to go for it now.
I think he's going to go for the field goal now after that timeout.
Be wise.
Well, we'll see. No, he's still going to go. He's still going. Matt, I think he's still going to go for the first.
Yeah, he's not going to go for the field goal.
I think the team is talking him out of it if he wanted to right now.
Well, you got to figure, yeah, that getting the first down. Of course, you haven't scored yet, but you continue to run the clock and you come close to scoring. And even if you don't get the first down, you have really hemmed in here at about its own 10-yard line. But again, as we look at Coach Ron Sanovica meeting with his team and the water boys out there for Yorktown, Matt, what do you think we're going to see here? I was very surprised last week on 4th and goal from the 1. He threw the football. There were a few open receivers on the play, but that did surprise me.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if right now you saw power. You know, I saw him run right straight up, going a little bit different formation, just go straight up the hole. See what happens there. He's got some big kids that can block. We'll see what happens.
Greeley will be in a goal line defense, and if they do throw the ball and complete it, it's a touchdown. Simple as that. But on 4th and less than 1, you're not going to take that chance with a 6-0 lead. So Matt, absolutely right here. We got to look for the fullback on a blast play right here. Here we go. See what we have with 9:57 to go. And the give is to Cariello. It's going to depend on the placement, I believe.
That's very close.
I believe he got it, but again, it will depend on the placement.
I think he has to get over the line, Joe.
And it is, they indicated, I'm surprised they indicated without bringing out the chains, but Chuck Peeves, the referee making the call, and Matt called it, it was to give on the power play to
It appeared to be like a double isolate coming off tackle, a double back lead.
And with the way Yorktown has run the ball, I'll say it again in the wet conditions, to not have one turnover in the game, that's been a key. And Ron Sanovica said we got to play mistake-free football. They'll have to do it next week too against Portchester.
There's a counter.
Counter to Romano. We do have a flag out of the back.
When that one's thrown, you're going to see a hold.
Probably a hold against the Yorktown Huskers. So we'll see, Matt, this week if Yorktown can finish off on some of these opportunities and execute when they do have the opportunity in the red zone. Last week, it had to be frustrating watching the inability of the Yorktown offense to score.
Yeah, it was, it was tough. It was going both ways. Austin, their defense did rise to the occasion. They played pretty well.
Yeah.
Coach always said defense wins games, and that was proven last week.
No, was it ever?
Yeah, that hurts right there in that spot, Joe. It's a 15-yard penalty.
It really
does. Hurts for Yorktown, certainly it hurts Greeley. But one thing that's important that you got to keep a track of right now is the clock. Even though they got to keep the ball on the ground, they got to maintain possession and keep eating the clock away. Just don't give Greeley the opportunity, unless they score, to get the ball back in any way.
And back to pass, McCutcheon, he overthrows
Overthrow.
Evan Page, though. Evan Page was open, and McCutcheon did overthrow him just a little bit.
He threw a little behind him that time.
And now we are keeping a look at the clock. 9:17 is the time remaining here in the game. 6-0. Yorktown leads Greeley, looking to deal the Quakers their first loss and win League 2A title for the 2nd straight year. Matt, not the 3rd straight year, even though Yorktown won a state title 2 years ago. Hard to believe they did not win the league title outright.
Yeah, that first year, 93, Brewster won the league title.
Yep.
We only won the state championship.
That's right. That's right. I'll take that trade anytime.
What's the range of your field goal kicker?
Well, normally about 35 yards.
Well, we've been, during practice, when he's been kicking, he comes down to this field, and he's hit him for 45 yards. He's got a good leg. He's a good player.
The only thing there, you got to figure out what happened with the PAT so the same thing doesn't happen again.
That, and also, as we have said, he's coming back from the injury. And, that makes it tough. This is his first year as a starter. Josh Wilson takes over for Tim Corba. And third down situation here, they try a counter to Evan Page. Good second effort. He's going to be close to a score. He'll be taken down at about the 1. And good job by John Bard to stop him right near the goal line. Did look like Evan Page would have his 14-yard touchdown run right there. But he is stopped short of the goal line. Clock continuing to run. 8:15 now to go in the game.
Goal from the
That was
one.
a good play by Evan. Everyone thought he was going down. He just popped right back
he
up.
He actually slipped on the turf a little bit and cut it back outside.
We've seen a lot of good second efforts by Evan Page the last couple of weeks. And just a resilient kid. He's a senior on this team, and he's just really stepped up in these big situations over the last couple of weeks. But really, the two toughest games as Yorktown takes the schedule, takes the timeout. I was saying the two toughest games probably on the schedule. Obviously, Harrison would be there too, since they did lose the game. But Ossining checking in with all their talent, Greeley checking in unbeaten, and Matt, let's look ahead right now to Portchester. And they're a team that, if Yorktown fans thought, well, if we can somehow beat Ossining and Greeley were back in the Final Four, they may have another thing coming, because Portchester's a very strong team. They're going to have to play almost like they did today.
Have to negate their speed. They're much quicker than Greeley.
Absolutely. When we were playing Saunders, they were a pretty quick team, and a lot like Portchester. They ran the option very well. They ran the trap option very well. we can stop them on D, we've got a pretty good shot on offense because sooner or later our offense clicks, as you see right now.
And we're taking a look now. What do you think of that new mascot, Matt? The Yorktown Cornhusker.
I don't know. The first time it came to our game, I kind of broke a bone.
Oh,
so
that's right.
I don't know.
I want to know why I
bad
don't
luck.
see Keone on the back of one of these jerseys down here, the cheerleaders.
That was a bad omen. Yeah, when the Cornhusker debuted, Matt sustained the collarbone injury against Fox Lane, so you probably never want to see the thing again. But yeah, Portchester. You know, one thing that jumped out at me was Portchester really waxed Mamaroneck earlier in the year. I think 35-14, and Mamaroneck beat Harrison. So you know that's a
Can't
big
tell
factor.
this year.
No, you really can't. You really cannot. The game will
Gotta
be at
pass.
Portchester. It's going to
Goal
pass
from
on
two.
4th and goal from the 1. If he's sacked, it's a disaster, and it is. Oh, my. That's a gutsy call right there. A real gutsy call. 4th and goal from the 1, and that's about, other than an interception, about the worst thing that could happen there if you're Yorktown, and it does.
You know, we saw Brewster do that against Somers at a crucial point at the game, and the same thing happened. It backfired on him. However, we just we see it successful many times as well.
So there he is dropped for the big loss on the play following the sack.
A lot of time left yet, Joe.
There certainly is, and 7:51 to go, just a 6-0 lead, and Greeley now, we'll see what it can get going here. That also obviously gets Greeley a little bit deeper, or not as deep as they would have been, which could be a big factor when we saw the safety that we saw last week.
If you didn't get the score, at least you leave it in very poor field position for him. Now you give them a little room to operate with. You know, they had to come out from the 1 the other way, and you might have gotten the safety out of it.
Hand in motion. Bard on the keeper. Tronchen in pursuit of him and able to take him down by the ankles. It looked like he might be able to break away from Corey Tronchen, but a nice diving effort by number 64, and he gets him down by the ankle.
Corey's pretty deceiving. You look at him, you think that he's
pretty
just
quick.
another lineman, and he can move. He can, when he wants to, he can move.
That's the key, when he wants to, right?
Well, that surprised me there, because I didn't think he'd be able to catch up with Bard. So he did show me something there, Corey Tronchen. 7:05 here to go in the 4th quarter. Joe Lombardi along with Ron Lyons and Matt Keone here at Yorktown High School. 6-0 is the score. Yorktown leads unbeaten Greeley in the League 2A championship game. Back to pass is Bard. Oh, and he completes it nicely to the tight end, Luke Carlaw. He's a big target, Matt, of course. He's not the fastest kid, does not have the best hands, but he's able to get the first down completion. And Yorktown looked like they were reading the play well, nearly came away with an interception, but Luke Carlaw was left open. 1st and 10 for the Yorktown Huskies. Ball at the 34. Clock shows now 6:35 to go in the game. Yorktown looking to win its 5th consecutive game. Really hoping for its 6th straight victory. And a shot at the Section 1 Class B Final Four. The give is to Adam Wagner, the fullback, and I don't think he's had a gain in the second half.
I want to go back to that timing. That was almost a fumble right there in that play, Joe. Again, his first week of running out of fullback. Really wasn't predicted as a starter, and the timing was off on that play, and they're just lucky they didn't fumble.
So we'll now have a 2nd and a long 11 right here for the Greeley Quakers. The ball at the 30-yard line, their own 30. They trail 6-0, 5:50 to go. Bard on the keeper. He'll throw the football, and incomplete. And it was intended once again for Luke Carlaw, but Jamin Romano knocking the ball away.
Almost picked it off.
Yeah, he almost had it.
And 3rd and 11. And we saw this against Ossining last week, Matt. When Yorktown's defense was put in a big spot, they really stepped up and came away with the big plays. And that has been the key in the last couple of weeks for the Yorktown Huskers. 6-0 is the score, 5:45 to go. Bard back to pass. He has time. And the completion is made on the play to number 43. That is Alex Grishman. Nice pattern right there, Matt.
That ball was pretty well thrown.
If you notice, that was the same play as before, coming towards us. You know, everybody, the flow was going away. The backside receiver came by, and he was wide open.
So that gives Greeley a first down right at midfield. Ball is at the 50. 5:35 to go now, fourth quarter. It is Greeley trailing Yorktown 6-0. And Bard right now, as they change their formations, gets a handoff. He'll have a pickup of close to 30 yards. Evan Page finally.
They changed quarterbacks. Bard was the wing back on that and came back around on the handoff.
They ran that earlier in the game, and we were saying, imagine what John Bard could do as a running back, and we saw it right there. And 41-yard connection right there, apparently, for John Bard.
You got a replay on that, Joe? I didn't see who snuck in at quarterback there.
I didn't either. I believe it might have been hand or hand, but I do believe they ran that play.
They changed positions. Quarter. Number 10 went up under and took the snap.
And the ball now at the Yorktown 20. And right now on that 4th and goal from the 1, the pass play in which the quarterback McCutcheon dropped for a sack, looking even bigger. That was the break. Both teams got breaks in this game. Yorktown capitalized on it. We'll see what Greeley can do here.
Well, the key right there is when they had the 4th and about 9, and they hit 43 Grisham on the delay coming across. That was the key for the first down. Then they just came back with what you could say is a trick play or deceiving play by changing positions, giving Bard the ball so he doesn't have to roll out on the quarterback sweep.
And the key there for Greeley, able to complete a couple of passes to Carlaw and Grishman to set up that run by John Bard. 41-yard pickup for John Bard. He nearly broke it and was brought down by the shoulder pads by Evan Page. Looked like a similar tackle to the one Don Weiss made in the state championship game last year. I believe that was on Kelly from Williamsville South.
That's right, he broke it. If Don didn't make that stop, I don't know what would have happened in that game.
And we could have a similar situation here. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Ball is at about the 19, 20-yard line. Yorktown trying to rally its defense right now. 5:13 to go here in the game. It is Yorktown 6, I should say, and Greeley nothing. Fumble! But Bard is able to recover. And I tell you what, that ball was laying there for the longest time, Matt.
That's right. We were just talking about how there weren't a lot of turnovers. Yep. That could have been one of the most important of the game.
And how it wasn't, I'll never know. The ball was literally laying, and you never see that for more than a full second.
Especially with Corey Torsion right up playing over the nose, you wouldn't see it. He must have been looking at the flow or took a slant away from the ball.
Very dangerous, but a good second effort by Bard to recover the football after initially losing it. He alertly pounced on it. Now 2nd and 11, so it's a loss of 1. And give us to the fullback, and Wagner, this time he will have a nice pickup. And really missing Mike Lardiero, but Wagner on the first drive did well, has held most of the second half, but there were 5-6-yard pickup for Wagner.
That was a reverse pivot out by the quarterback, just straight off to the fullback. But again, Joe, I just want to point out, that ball was just slid in there at the last moment. The timing was off on that play. Here's where you're going to see a fumble.
All right, the Quakers in 2-down territory with 4:04 to go now. And stacked up at the line is Wagner, nothing doing. So after the 4-minute warning, we'll have a 4th and about 3 here for the Greeley Quakers. 4th and closer to 4. And what are we going to look for here, Ron, from Greeley?
Well, they're going to go back to what's been good for them, and I think you'll see the quarterback coming back left to the left with a lead blocker.
He's going to keep it on the option.
That'll be
I
like
agree.
the quarterback sweep.
That's what I called for earlier in a similar situation, and they threw the football.
Although, you know, it's a wide play, which probably shouldn't be called at this point, but he's the best ball carrier in the backfield.
All right, this could be the ball game right
Today
here.
he is.
Although there is plenty of time, even if Yorktown takes over, if they are held by Greeley, to mount another threat. 3:58 now.
I think there was a little confusion right there, and just as well on Greeley's part, because
they didn't take the 4-minute warning before is what it was, and Chuck Teebs is going to take it now, I believe.
Yeah. But also there was seemed to be some confusion as the alignment in the backfield for Greeley. And get that straightened out now.
And the clock now has restarted, and the clock shows 3:50 to go here in the fourth quarter. 4th and 4, we'll call it, for the Greeley Quakers. The ball is at about the Yorktown 15-yard line.
Here he comes.
Bard is tripped up, but still gets it on the keeper. He'll be in for the touchdown. John Bard scores around the left end.
We even called the right
How could
direction.
they not be looking for that play there? The option keeper with the quarterback, that was what they were going to run, and Bard scores easily around the left end after initially being tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Now the man of the hour will be Tom Hanrahan, I believe, who will attempt the point after kick here.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do if they do attempt to kick it, or they're going to go for 2.
And that was a 13-yard.
Marty Air was their kicker. Do they have a backup kicker that you're aware of, Joe?
Tom Hanrahan would be the guy, Ron. Tom Hanrahan, number 10.
Well, they have a T, but that doesn't always mean a lot of things.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. If they did score, would they go for the 2, even though they don't necessarily need the 2-point conversion?
Well, 2-1, regardless, if Yorktown gets the position for a field goal, it doesn't make any difference. They got to do what they feel is their best right
I think
now.
you're unbeaten. If you get a tie and then beat Lincoln next week, you're in good shape. So what I would do is I'd run that option keeper. I'd run the option keeper with the quarterback.
Well, if they went for it for 4th and 4, they might be able to get 2 yards out of it.
All right, we'll see what happens here. It's just hard to believe in that spot, though, that Bard was able, after tripping, being, losing his footing, still able to score around the left end. That was a shocker right there, because that's the play you have to look for if you're Yorktown. And instead, Hanrahan will attempt what would be the tie-breaking point after kick. And the kick is up.
I don't think it's any good, is it? It is good.
They'll call it good.
Good.
The kick makes it through.
From my angle, look, it must have gone just on the inside of the upright because it looked like it was left.
7-6 is the score. Greeley has taken the lead here with 3:31 to go in the game.
I wouldn't count the blackout yet. I think this is what they're made of. It's gut check time. See what they're going to do.
3:31 to go. That's right, Matt. They will have one more opportunity here at least.
The mark of a true quarterback, Matt. You step in the huddle and say, it's gut check time, guys.
Let's get it done. And tough position for Yorktown after they, first of all, missed the point after kick, and then they come back and drive to the 1-yard line of Greeley and then drop for a loss on the sack, trying to throw the football in that situation was a bit of a surprise. So we'll see what they do here, if they're able to bounce back. And Hanrahan will kick off. He is the man of the hour for the Greeley Quakers. Without Mike Lardiere, he stepped in and kicked the pivotal point after kick.
Pretty good kick.
It is a very good kick. It'll be a touchback. So Yorktown will take over at the 20. They'll have 80 yards to go. 3:31 remaining. And you know, we were talking, Matt, earlier with Ron, if you have a year like Greeley is having, you have to get some lucky breaks, and they did in the Portchester game. They did in the John Jay game when they were down 12-11 midway through the fourth quarter. Mike Lardiere broke one. And Ron, they also did in the Ossining game when Lardiere broke one. And this would be another situation where if they're able to get another lucky break, and you figure Mike Lardiere, it's just a turned ankle, he should be ready to come back.
Well,
in that type of year, and we've seen it with Yorktown the last couple of years. And
Bard has stepped in and taken over for Lardiere, but I just can't go back to that 4th down play. We had 4th and 1, Joe. They actually gave Greeley some room to work, even though they didn't make it. And then, of course, they had 2 4th down key plays in that drive. The pass to 43, and then, of course, the run by Bard right here at the end. But let's forget about going back. Now it's Yorktown's turn.
it is, and 3:09 to go. And that was a 4-yard pickup for Pete Cariello. Yorktown defeated this Greeley team 40-0 last year.
There it is.
He's got McFarland. McFarland will be close to a first down in a big spot. Jared McCutcheon with a big completion right there.
Against that defense, Joe, that's the prime place to throw. That defensive end has to back off and cover the flat. He just can't do it right there with that play action.
And a good job by Jared McCutcheon, too, to get out of bounds and stop the clock. Now it is restarted. 2:50 to go here in the game. 7-6, Greeley leading Yorktown. The give is to Deagle. Deagle has some running room. He'll have a first down all the way up to the 45-yard line. Clock is stopped at 2:41.
See, that was a little late hit there, number 64 on Jared McCutcheon.
Is there a flag? Did they call that?
They didn't call it, but I
see
saw
any
the
flag
same thing Matt saw.
Okay, I didn't see it, but Yorktown does get the first down. The clock is stopped at 2:41. Ball now at the 45, so Yorktown has turned out, I should say, 25 yards right off the bat here on this drive. McCutcheon is back to pass to McFarland. Batted away and nearly intercepted on the play.
I think it's just as well that when Diggett hit to the ground because he was pretty well covered, and number 30 defensive back was coming up.
That time he took a little bit too long to get rid of it, and I thought it would be an interception.
And they tried to catch Greeley off guard, and they did, but it was still nearly intercepted right there, and that would have been it, certainly, if there had been an interception. So now 2:26 to go here on 2nd and 10. Ball is at the Yorktown 45. Huskers trail by 1, 7-6. And it goes to Cariello. Up the middle, he goes for a pickup of about 6 or 7 yards on the play. And the clock will stop at 2:23. Why did they stop the clock there, Ron? Just curious there in that situation.
I think we have a penalty.
Oh, we do have a penalty against Greeley. Okay.
I don't think Greeley got their man off the field. Number 73 came in. Matter of fact, he's the one that was in on the stop.
Okay.
And Yorktown happened to have the play call there. He substituted for, I forget the youngster's number, a 60-something, but he wasn't off the field in time before the ball got snapped.
The Horace Greeley Quakers have entered this game with a 6-game losing streak against Yorktown. They have overall won 8 out of 9 games and are 5-0 this year, but have lost 6 in a row to Yorktown, including 40-0 last year, 26-0 in 1993. The call officially is illegal substitution against Greeley. So Bill Tribo saying we have a score to settle. If they do, they won't do it by much. Leading here 7-6, but hey, a win is a win, and type of year they've had, they will take this and take it happily. But right now, Yorktown mounting a challenge on perhaps its last drive of the game. Pass again is McCutcheon. He's got it to McFarland.
Nice catch. Nice catch.
Close to a first down pickup. Gainer of about 9 yards.
He had to turn around and come back for it.
That was a good play. You saw Jared didn't have much room to give it to his receiver. He stuck it right in there.
And
it's interesting to note also, that was a new ball. Now they got an older ball back in there.
And it was a first down. That's why the clock stopped. So it was a first down. So officially an 11-yard pickup. Nearly slipping is McCutcheon. A long route.
He's got him.
Intended for McFarland. Just overthrown in double coverage. But that was a well-thrown ball right there,
Yes,
Matt.
it was.
You know, he timed it well.
Yeah, he really did. You know, the defensive backs made a good play on that. They kind of, knocked it away, made it difficult for Jay to catch. And if not, that would have been 6 our way.
The thing you have to think about, though, if you're Yorktown, is certainly that you will probably be seeing double coverage on Jay McFarland because they are looking for the pass here. So you got to look for maybe throwing to one of the halfbacks, Evan Page perhaps, or Rich Deagle. McFarland wide right. Going to the left. And just as I say that, indeed, they do try and go to Rich Deagle. And incomplete right there. 3rd and 10 now.
They hit him right in 32.
Right in the numbers, yep.
You know, he's played well enough. You can't let that play bother him. You know, he'll come back with something big to make up for it. I'm
surprised we didn't see the mix in the run here because there is a lot of time to go. So that did surprise me a little bit.
We got a 3rd and 10, Joe. We need big play.
Right here, you're going to throw the football, and you got to look for the go-to guy, McFarland. McCutcheon back to pass, overthrown, intended for Jamin Romano. And now it'll come down to this. They need 10 yards to get the first down to the Yorktown Huskers with 1:54 to go here in the game. Trailing Greeley 7-6, the 2-time defending state champion Yorktown Huskers. A loss here could knock them out of a possible three-peat bid. Certainly with 2 losses and a date at Fort Chester next week, it would be tough to make it back, if not impossible, to the Section 1 Final Four. It all comes down to this play right now for Yorktown. 1:54 to go. 4th and 10. The ball at the Greeley 41. McCutcheon back to pass. Page incomplete and batted away. No penalties. Page calling for a penalty. Santavica calling for a pass interference.
I don't think
penalty.
so. They both went for the ball, Joe.
I didn't think there should be there, but that was Yorktown's only hope, and Greeley will take over with 1:48 to go.
Well, this is a case where now they've saved their timeouts. They're going to have to use them now. You got, what, a minute and almost a minute 50, minute 48 left. They can actually get the ball back.
They can. They do have all their timeouts left. Yorktown. I don't believe they had to use any.
I
on
don't
that.
believe they have.
Yeah, because they threw the football and they got a few play stoppages, and obviously Greeley's just going to run the football. But still, the Quakers in very good position right here after a scoreless first half. They have come back well
They're going to
here.
use their timeouts. They'll probably get the ball back without any timeouts.
After a scoreless second half, both teams have come on here, I should say, in the second half, and really picked up the pace. And nearly a fumble by Bard, but on the keeper, he's going to be close to a
I
first
actually
down.
believe he did drop it and picked it up at the same time.
Nice effort for John Bard right there. And that was a gainer, Ron, of close to 9 yards.
Yeah, that's a broken play, and he still made something out of it, which is a mark of a good athlete.
He has been the key for the Greeley Quakers.
He
Without
certainly has.
Lardiere, he just stepped up. He's a great athlete. He's a senior, Matt, and, you know, he's coming off a 4-4 year. This is it for him. And, you know, you've had the opportunity to play in bowl games and state championship game. This is his only chance. And
Yeah, absolutely.
even without Mike Lardiere, he just said, hey, I've never beaten Yorktown. We've never been.
They're going to stop the clock now. Now they're going to have to use their timeouts after this.
Yep.
They've got to get the ball back. They've got to use their timeouts.
Well, the key right there is that Greeley was able to pick up the first down, so that's going to make it very difficult right now for Yorktown.
Even with the clock stopped, with the change of the chains, they did call their first time out.
Yep. And we mentioned the scores. Last year it was 40-0, Yorktown over Greeley, 26-0 the year before. 1992 it was 22-20. That was a tough win for Yorktown.
That was, the year Lodwick was a...
What happened in that one?
Lodwick had that key interception to put it over him, 22-20. He intercepted, ran it back for about 40 yards.
Okay. And yeah, you know, you think about it, and I picked Yorktown to win 13-10, and I said it might be a 7-0, 7-6 type game, and that's what we have, but I figured if John Jay could put 12 points on the board against Greeley, even without Matt here, I think Yorktown could do the same thing, but that hasn't happened. And not too surprised because, you know, in big games, Matt, we see this a lot. In big games, teams play big. And Greeley has come up big, flat out. So is Yorktown on defense. Other than that last drive, an outstanding game for them. Both teams have really come up big. And in Section 1, when you get these great confrontations, more often than not, you're going to have defensive struggles. Keep Bard on the keeper, clock continuing to run at 55 seconds. And Yorktown will take another timeout here if they have it. They must be out of timeouts. They got to be out of timeouts.
I don't remember them calling their timeouts. I didn't keep track on the paper, Joe, but
well, the clock at
valuable
42
time is
seconds
going
now,
off the clock right now.
continuing to run. 35 seconds. So 2nd and 8.
They
The
must be
Greeley
out of
Quakers
timeouts.
have been waiting a long time for this moment. They last beat Yorktown in 1988. That was the last year Greeley made a bowl, 1988. And the last time they beat Yorktown. And Bard will just knee the ball to the ground, and that will do it. Final score will be 7-6, a frustrating loss for the Yorktown Huskers, and it has been a championship-type season thus far for Greeley, Matt, and we got to give that team a lot of credit, as well as Yorktown. Both teams played very hard in a big game. They both played hard, and Greeley came back, and with their senior leadership, able to win the game.
What it really came down to was the special teams, you know, like last week. That's where it made the game, the extra point.
And that will do it for Yorktown as far as getting back to the Final Four now with 2 losses. And the run is over, Matt, and while we have you here, what a run for Yorktown, and back-to-back state championships. I tell you what, with the way Williamsville South and Corcoran have been playing this year and the type of scores they've been racking up, it would be very, very tough for Section 1 to repeat. Very tough in Class B. Certainly Yorktown would have loved the chance. They're not going to get it. Would have been difficult anyway with Nyack and Poughkeepsie being very dominant, impressive teams this year. But Ron, a great run for this Yorktown team.
It's not over yet. I mean, they still have an opportunity to get into one of the bowl games.
Into a bowl, yeah. If they beat
make,
Portchester.
a little icing on the cake at the end of the season. I mean, they're still very much in the hunt to get a bowl bid. It might not be the premier bowl with this win, but they still have an opportunity to get in there, and they can, still have a very, very successful season. I mean, it's a successful season now.
Especially with a lot of juniors on the Yorktown team, and a team that's going to be very strong next year as well. And Matt, you were part of the state championships, very special moments for you at the Carrier Dome, and this is a great program that Ron Senovica has built, and for this Greeley team to knock them off, no matter what they do the rest of the year, this is something they can look back on the rest of their lives. John Bard, number 7, the quarterback, and Luke Carlisle, the other seniors. That's how big an accomplishment it is for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams played real hard. I don't think the coaches of Yorktown are too upset. Their team played hard. Just came down to that special teams extra point, and some things happen. This field's known to get a couple kicks blocked on it. That decides the game.
Well, they had a few last week that were blocked, which certainly went in Yorktown's favor, and today they had one block against Yorktown. So as you say, and again, the kicking game, extremely one-third of your football game. Not that many people either work on defending it or actually using it as their weapon.
Absolutely, and in this type of situation, well, when you're having a season like Greeley, you get breaks and you capitalize on them, and they did that this afternoon. So Greeley goes to 6-0. Yorktown's 4-game winning streak is now over as the Huskers fall to 4 up and 2 down, and they have a date next week at Portchester. And Matt, we want to thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure. You did a great job here, and we wish you the best of luck. We'll
Thank
see
you very much.
in lacrosse season, and great run for you, and it's appropriate you're here when it ended for Yorktown because you were one of the keys last year in the state championship game, and certainly they miss you out here, but they did a great job, blessed, and it's a gut-wrenching loss for Yorktown. A lot of the players, unfortunately, Matt, you hate to see this, they're going to say, well, it might have been my fault. Some of the coaches might say, well, I should have done this or that. You can't second-guess. You can't look back in that situation. New Yorktown's had back-to-back state titles. Breaks are part of the game. They're going to happen. And this is a young Yorktown team. It's tough for the seniors on this team. But the good thing is they were there last year. They were part of the state championship, and they were part of the whole thing. They see how it goes both ways, and we give both teams a lot of credit.
That's true. They saw the best of it now. They're not feeling so right, but they saw the best of it.
All I can say, Joe, is I've been there, both sides.
You have, and Matt has, and there's no words really you can say to the Yorktown players right now that can console them, because without Matt and coming back from that adversity, they responded so well and looked like they might have had enough to pull out the win, but they fell short, and we give them a lot of credit. Give Greeley a lot of credit at 6-0. First win against Yorktown since 1988, the last time they made a bowl. And we'll be back with post-game activities right here again. Thanks a lot to Matt Keone and Ron Lyons. Pleasure working with you. You'll be back with us next week as we present the game of the week on ESV Sports. John Jay and Fox Lane, that long-time rival.
That'll be a special one for me.
That's right, yeah. That's going to be, we'll talk more about that next week. But Matty, good job. And
thank you very much.
We appreciate it. And folks, we'll be back with more in a moment. Classic game. Greeley coming from behind and defeating Yorktown here 7-6 to improve to 6-0 on the year and snap Yorktown's 4-game winning streak and Yorktown's 6-game winning streak against Greeley. And I'm joined now by Coach Bill Tribo and quarterback, defensive back, John Bard. And congratulations, guys. Great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a great feeling, and I'm telling you what, nobody deserves this more than this guy, yeah.
What a game he played, and without Mike Lardier, if you guys could just stand a little bit more toward me, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Without Mike Lardier, John really took it upon himself and just kind of took over the game, and he was really your only consistent offensive weapon today.
Well, one of the things that the emphasis that we made this week is that without Michael, or anytime you're missing a great player, it's got to be one heartbeat out there, and that's what my speech was the other night, and it was something that we worked on, and we wanted to be in unison the whole time, and the kids did that, and John took us right home there, which was super. I'm kind of speechless right now, which is very rare for me. Right?
Very rare, yeah, exactly. Although you are speechless and you're probably a little bit overcome right now by such a big win in this type of situation. Tell us, if you could put it into words, because you were telling me earlier this week, this is a team you lost to 40-0 last year. They're the two-time defending state champions, and for your kids to come out, and the seniors like John to come out here, their last crack at Yorktown, and to come out with an effort like this, and for you to get a win against them, You're first against Yorktown, I believe. You've got to be very pleased.
I'm ecstatic. I mean, I've never felt this good in my life. There must be something wrong if I'm feeling this good.
Yeah.
So that's what winning does. And, you know, I'm not going to take any kind of credit at all, because any coach who does, you know, anytime you have a great game like this, it's on the backs of great players. And John showed that today, and all these other kids stepped up. And I will not take any kind of credit for this. These guys are just unbelievable.
What was the mood of the team when you found out Mike wasn't going to be able to play? And, you know, he's your workhorse, and he's got over 500 yards rushing and how many touchdowns, you know, 9 or something like that, and he's not going to be able to play. And this is your toughest game of the year. What was the mood of the kids on this team?
You know, surprisingly, the mood of the kids was not the problem. The problem was me, you know. I went around and I asked certain kids, juniors, kids who don't play that much, and they said to me, you know, Coach, we really don't care. It doesn't, you know, we would love to have Michael out there, but this is our game right now, and we're going to play this like it's our last game that we're ever going to have. And they showed that today. I was the one who was nuts, not the kids. You know, I was screeching about it up until Friday night, you know, so,
How about the comeback ability of this team? You've come back against Ossining, against John Jay in the fourth quarter, now against Yorktown in the fourth quarter. Why are they able to do that against tough defensive teams?
Well, I more than anything, I think it's the stock that I come from and Coach Sanovica comes from. We've been taught never, ever to quit, ever. I mean, until you are dead, okay? That's the only time that you can quit. And we both come from Central Avenue and Tuckahoe Road, and that's what they preach down there. That's what I played in. That's what he played in. And that's what we teach our kids to play in. We just happen to be able to you know, to get it done today. But they've gotten it done a million times before. And this is, you know, this is a great win for us.
When it was 6-6, you guys tied the score. You don't have Lardier as your place kicker. Any thought about going for the 2? And, you know, Tom Hanrahan coming in and in a big spot, kicking the point after that ultimately gave you the win. But what was the thought process there?
There was no thought process at all.
You're confident
in fact, the assistant coaches had us going out for 1 before I could even make a decision. Okay. They made that choice, and they do it all the time. And we don't think about those kind of things. We, you know, our thing is we worry about what we do, not what the other team is going to do. And damn, I mean, all we do is practice that. We practice it every day, and it pays off.
On the last drive, a couple of key passes there, and you hadn't really thrown the ball too much in the game, but John came out and hit a couple of clutch passes to Carlo and Grishman, I believe,
right,
on that drive. And other than his plan, 4th down, those were the 2 keys right there.
Definitely. One of them was a pass that we just put in this week. We worked on it every day, even on the defensive days. And that was the one to Karloff. And we had it open earlier in the game, and John just didn't see it, you know. And we made a little adjustment with the blocking scheme at halftime to make sure that we could get the corner. And Luke came across, came up big, made a nice catch, got a couple of yards after it. And then the other one to Grishman, we caught him in a man-to-man, and you know, we ran a hole cut on the backside, and John threw back, and that kid made a great play, and he got the 1st down, and then John ran the ball on the next play. That was the biggest play of the game.
How are you guys, before we bring in John here, and we've got John Bard, of course, with us as well, how are you guys able to get the sack on 4th and goal from the 1? Well, you couldn't have been looking for a pass play there. That wound up being a big turnaround right there.
Well, again, honestly, we knew that pass was coming. That's something that is a base play that Ron Sanovica and I always run down there. When in doubt, run the down pass, or what he probably calls the belly pass. And, you know, I knew that play was coming, and we didn't make any, you know, different adjustment or anything. We were there to stop whatever they had. I mean, that defense is made to stop all that stuff. Our kids just performed a little bit better on that play, and that's it.
And before we let you go, Mike Lardier, what's his status? Is he going to be back next week against Lincoln?
Right now, if I had to bet money, and I don't bet money, Michael will play this week.
Okay. All right. Great job. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. Coach Bill Tribo, and let's bring in John. Congratulations.